What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Liberty Libations. Joining me, as always, is Steven, Alden, and Zane.
Nice.
And then we have our guest this week is John Eiler. I'll let you go ahead and tell us who you are.
Hey everybody, I'm John. I'm a stand-up comedian and a lawyer. I'm very passionate about what we do as a people, as you can see. Love this shirt. I know y'all do too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to be performing at the conference in January. Zach, when is that going to be?
I'm going to talk about that in a second. I don't have it in front of me, but I will pull it up. But yeah, you earned the nickname Sunglasses Jesus at The Great Create. You were our host. You did a great job. I think everyone thought you were hilarious. So he's returning for our convention, which we'll talk about a little bit right now. So our convention, when is it coming up? Let me click the link and find out. Which you can see if you... Yep, January. Go over to lpgeorgia.com and you'll see the link for the 2024 convention at the top. And it is January 26th through 28th in Conyers, Georgia at the VFW there. Tickets are $85 and we will have speakers such as Spike Cohen, Shane Hazel, Sara Higdon, Edgar Mills, stand-up comedian Adam Nutter being hosted or opened. I'm not really sure how that's going to happen, but John will be opening or hosting for him, as well as just, being funny throughout the day, I think. And then we will have a debate with all the presidential candidates, basically. So we got Josh Smith, Chase Oliver, Mike Termott, Lars Mapstead, Michael Rechtenwald, and I feel like I'm leaving out one, but now I don't remember what order. Hornberger, yeah. How could I forget Jacob? And afterwards, well, that'll be fine because number one, Brad Binkley, who will be joining us first week of January, will be the moderator, and he's going to make it exciting and fun and entertaining and experimental, is what I've been told. So it'll probably be a debate like none other that we've ever seen. And then afterwards, we're going to have Tower Gang there to just roast the convention, roast the candidates, and just be their genuine, terrible selves. And that'll be our version of the spin room. So that'll be a lot of fun.
They're coming to the Aryan party, right?
Yep. They didn't see the Liberté part. Anyway, so go check that out at lpgeorgia.com, and then you'll see the link for the convention there. There's also a range day with Spike if you want to go shoot guns with Spike, with the Bazooka Jew himself. That's going to be happening close by on Friday. So go check out lpgeorgia.com/Spike if you want to be involved in that. Tickets are going pretty fast. We only have probably a few left. So if that's something you want to do, lpgeorgia.com/Spike. What's everybody drinking tonight? You go, Steven.
I'm rocking the Grolsch swing top.
Say again?
Grolsch, the swing top.
Nerd. Okay, I did hear it right. It just made no sense.
Yeah.
And then
what you, Alden?
To ring in the season here, I've got some Rumpelmans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got to do it every year.
John, what'd you bring to the stream?
I am sponsoring a local brewery tonight. This is Fox City Brewing Company, and This is specifically Forsythia. I'm not really a beer drinker normally, but this is very exquisite. This is one of the best libations I've ever had in my life, so I'm gonna be drinking that tonight.
Fox City's good stuff, man. They're down in Forsyth, the city of Forsyth, not Forsyth County. So,
right, like Monroe County.
Yeah.
And then Zane, you already blew the big surprise, but go ahead and tell us whatever you're drinking.
I've got my go-to Blue Moon here.
Blue Moon.
Not a snob like the rest of everybody here.
With an orange wedge.
Anytime any new brewery in Georgia opens or closes, Steven texts the entire group and it's like, oh no, another brewery is closing. What will I ever do if I can't go to Skunk Hole Brewery?
So he cold, Zane. That's people's job. Anyway, I am not being an snob or an elitist. I got a White Claw as
There
normal.
we go.
Mm-hmm.
So according to Grumpy Gnome, that means I'm not drinking.
Well, it's just water. Yeah.
Yeah, basically. I'm staying hydrated.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys have sent me some links and I gathered some stuff. Let's just go ahead and jump into it and get started with all the shenanigans from the last week. The first one, I think it was a little bit of clickbait just because I saw this was trending. I figured we could talk about Trump saying that he would be a dictator. So let's hear that.
Though, because the media has been focused on this and attacking you. Under no circumstances, you are promising America tonight you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except for
Going crazy. Except I want to close the border and I want to drill.
that's
drill,
not
drill.
that's not.
Anyway, I didn't watch that whole thing to know if he even says the word dictator, but that's what made it into the media cycle is that Trump says he's going to be a dictator on day one.
All right.
He
What do
says
you
so
guys
much.
think about that?
I'm not even going to scrub through that to even verify it because, like, who cares? I don't know. But
Well, I mean, every president
funny.
basically in our lifetime has ruled by executive fiat. Like, very little has been done. What is it? It's been since Newt Gingrich was Speaker of the House that we had an actual budget, not a continuing resolution. So everything's been done by executive order anyway. So all we've had is basically diet versions of dictators anyways. It's, first week they're in there, they pass an executive order canceling all the outstanding executive orders from the last guy.
yeah.
And then they start their own tirade.
And then the next one flips and does. It's the pendulum of no progress. Like,
Right.
I mean, it's good to see at least that Trump is still a comedy genius.
it was hilarious. Yeah.
Because Hannity asked him the easiest imaginable softball question, which is, just say you're not going to be a dictator, right? And Trump is like, no, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
That would
No,
be too easy and predictable.
Grumpy Gnome says, I can handle no progress.
Fair
Well,
enough.
he didn't
yeah.
exactly have respect for the legislative process his first time around. Take the guns first and then due process second, I think is one of the quotes. So, yeah, I mean, we can believe it because that's what he did at the border and with the drill baby drill stuff the first time around was also, I guess, technically dictatorial because he did it without any kind of legislative support, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah, it sucks all the ways that he could have just acted too, but chose not to. Like he had power to pardon Snowden or Assange and
That was one of the,
and all that. And it would have pissed off all the right people, but he
yeah.
didn't.
I was kind of hopeful that he would pardon Snowden just to do it, just like even if he doesn't know what the hell's going on, just to like kind of be a thorn in the side of everyone and just kind of ruffle feathers, and he didn't. But
Yeah.
And this is one of the great tragedies with Trump is that he's an idiot and therefore he is incapable of taking any actions that would actually result in something substantially positive.
like a net,
Like he can piss off all the right people, but it's just like it's the political equivalent of eating a pixie stick.
Yeah. Well, and then Trump would be, why eat the pixie stick when you can snort it?
Off of a hooker's ass.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But make her sign an NDA so then you can sue her. If she
Right.
talks about
Right. Perfect. Yeah.
She'll end up having to pay him for it.
What Stormy Daniels?
Yeah.
Pretty sure you owe some money there because the whole purpose of the NDA is that you pay a fee for disclosing that.
Yeah, that was an expensive pixie stick.
Yeah. Any thoughts on this, John? Or do we start with the most boring one of them all just for clickbait?
I mean, pixie sticks are fun. What else is in the news?
Yeah, we can move forward.
Let's move on.
Next topic.
I do like that
Speaking-
Meet the Press did a straw poll of Georgia Republican voters, to see who won the third debate. And everybody that they asked said Trump, and Trump wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Speaking
the
of
write-in
zoning
vote.
out, I wanted to.
If
I
Jake
wanted
were
to
here,
ask
he would
earlier when you
pick
were
a way
listing the
better
speakers. Did you mention?
topic.
Sorry, go ahead, John.
Did you mention Chase Oliver, Zach?
Sorry, I can't really hear. You're a little muffled.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I said, speaking of me zoning out, I wanted to ask, earlier when you were talking about the speakers, did you mention Chase Oliver and the other presidential debate candidates?
Yeah, I did.
Cool.
Yeah, Chase is going to be there. He'll be in the debate. And I zoned out during it and forgot who I had mentioned. I remember Jacob Hornberger will be there. But we're going to have all the presidential debates moderated by Brad Binkley and then roasted afterwards by Tower Gang. Should be good.
Cool.
Wow, how can we expect the viewers to watch this show if we can't even pay attention to it and we're the ones who are on the show? This is a sad state of affairs we have tonight.
All right, we'll move on because that was admittedly boring, but that was what dominated the news cycle for a day. Is Trump said this line, and we obviously know he's joking, but we're going to take it as seriously as possible.
That sounds like the news. Yeah. That's why I don't watch the news.
This one probably has about as much for us to say about it, but it also has a cool explosion. So here's the house that exploded in Virginia.
Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Matt?
It's still unknown whether or not he had Taco Bell for dinner. But just based on people scrubbing social media, this guy appeared to be a left-wing conspiracy theorist. Far left conspiracy theorist. He was all about the Russia-Trump collusion. He was convinced his neighbors were spies, and he was calling them out on social media. Dude totally flipped out, and that whole thing. So I think somebody called a well check on him or something like that. It was like, hey, he's not doing too well. He's put tinfoil over his windows. He's kind of holed himself up in there. Cops went and knocked on the door. He shot at him. They shot back, and then the house blew up.
He was apparently firing a flare gun too.
Well, that's what the neighbor said. Yeah.
At what, a propane tank? Like.
Well, and he's not in the country either. Like you saw the street. Like he's in a suburb. Like those houses are pretty close together.
No, the houses next to him on either side are fucked up.
Right.
That was
imagine so.
Quite a boom.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what exploded, like how much explosive you'd have to do to take the roof, 70 feet in the air or whatever. Like, that's crazy. So
either a couple tons of TNT or one quesarito.
Yeah, there you go.
The Diablo sauce.
This wasn't like meth or anything, as anybody knows, right?
It could have been. All we know is the dude was buying into every CNN theory there ever was, and posting that stuff constantly on social media. And he was bugged out that his neighbors were spies and spying on him.
So are you saying that you think that? Wait, he did. Okay, I don't know anything about this story. Are you saying someone didn't like him and like attacked him, or did he set up his own house to blow or something, or like what is the story here?
I don't think anybody was really attacking him. He thought people were attacking him.
Oh,
okay. The neighbors were like, dude's just crazy.
So it's like schizo level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All the schizo level stuff could be explained by meth, maybe. But
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
The behavior and the explosion,
Yeah.
The fact that this guy was apparently motivated by watching a lot of CNN does present us with a unique opportunity to put the shoe on the other foot here, right. Because the attack on anybody from Fox News to Joe Rogan or anybody that's not towing the official narrative is this is dangerous. This needs to be silenced because we're promoting dangerous conspiracy theories. And think of how many people are in danger because of extremism. Mm-hmm. Well, now I'm extremely tempted to start using this as a club to bash in CNN. But look at all the dangerous extremism you're promoting.
You sound like a dangerous extremist wanting to bash with a club.
Only on day one.
Just as like a side note here, when we're talking about like conspiracy theory leaning toward like a side or whatever, in general, I don't necessarily think it has to lean to one side or the other if you're truly going after just like the evidence and what makes sense. Like sometimes it'll take on the flavor of either side. It'll look like it, just depending on the event or whatever. But I remember back in like when I was younger, it seemed like more of like a left thing at the time, because of like there was with who was in power. There was the Republican Party, there was like the Bush Cheney ticket, there was the 9/11 thing, there was all of that going on. So when I was like a teenager, the concept was more like of a left-leaning. I was like the left-leaning, like wackadoo, you know, like anti-America, Republican kind of quote-unquote conspiracy theorist, because I had questions about what was going on at the time. But now, it's taken on the sort of converse narrative and the other side flavor. And now it's like, I feel like the word conspiracy theorist is being sort of branded as the total flip, the other side, like more of the right-leaning, which is interesting. And I don't even necessarily mean like full-blown, QAnon side of things, but just in general, the association of the word conspiracy theory, I think, has more of a right connotation, where it used to maybe have, if anything, more of a left. But
well, it's important to remember that the term conspiracy theory in the first place was popularized by the CIA, after the Kennedy assassination, because they wanted to discredit anybody that was questioning the official narrative on that. Yeah. And they were all like, you can't trust these guys. They're just peddling conspiracy theories. Right. So it was a literal conspiracy to discredit people that are, talking about other potential conspiracies. So I try not to use the term conspiracy theory anymore.
I agree.
Because it was literally made up by people that were trying to discredit them.
Yeah, I agree. I usually use it like with a disclaimer, kind of, if I say it.
It's like the word capitalist was made up by communists to, talk down on anybody that is rational.
Cheers.
No, seriously, like the word capital didn't exist until Das Kapital, right?
I had no
I'm pretty
idea
sure
about
Marx coined the term.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it does seem like this guy was just a wackadoodle.
I feel like.
Oh. Go
ahead.
Okay, you talking about me? Wait.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Now, I just wanted to say, like, this whole one side coming up with the conspiracy about the other and back and forth, that's one thing I really like about our party, is the fact that it's more like macro-minded, whereas with the GOP is like solely looking out for the interests of white, straight, conservative, Christian, Protestant family men of a particular socioeconomic status, whereas the Democrats is like everybody else, all wrapped into one. Is the black community being served, but then you run into black people who are conservative about things like gay marriage, and then gay people are also represented by the Democratic Party at the same time. Whereas it's all this like micro level stuff that goes on with the Democrats and the Republicans, whereas we're like more, what's freedom, what just works at the governmental level.
On a principle underlying level. Yeah.
Yeah, we tend not to get tied up in the minutia of, how people put the puzzle together in the bedroom, what they do with their money. Like, at that point, it's none of our business.
The puzzle, the bedroom puzzle. Yeah. Exactly. Truly none of anyone's business. Yeah.
Right.
And it's actually through this type of thinking that I started to question everything. And then it's actually part of my path to thinking more along the libertarian way is actually through, we'll say the conspiracy theory word again now, just because it's what people know, but it's that type of thinking. And it was following those types of things and asking those types of questions and finding that at different eras, it was, whether it was a red or a blue, issue or whatever, it just seemed like they were puppets for the CIA throughout the decades at different times in modern times. And that's what partly started to, sort of pull the shades back for me a little on how the system really works, and that there's an illusion of two sides to keep people bickering and feuding and whatever. But
and I'm old enough to remember the Republicans going after guys like Snoop Dogg and Sir Mix-a-Lot, especially Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh went after Sir Mix-a-Lot so hard. He's mentioned in 3 or 4 of his biggest songs.
Oh yeah, he was mentioned.
So now today, I don't really expect Republicans to be these bastions of free speech they try to brand themselves as. They want to say that they're the logical party. They're the party of what makes sense. But then you watch their debates, and all they're doing is making emotional appeals for more power.
Yeah. a lot of the time that was the case. And then there was like in the 90s and even early 2000s, like again, when I was a kid, it seemed like the free speech thing, at least a little bit, seemed to be important to like more of like liberals. I mean, it's in the name, it's supposed to be in the name, like, you know, a root of liberty still or whatever, and like the freedom of speech. And now I feel like that's that particular angle in our sort of zeitgeist now is wanting to take away things like that more, like again with like a polar cross kind of a thing. I feel like we're in one of those, like we're living in the middle of one of those chapters, like where in 50 years when we look back, will we be like, oh, and that was the second time the Republican and the Democratic Party like flip, you know what I mean? Like we've got some crazy stuff going on like that. But
yeah, I mean the fatal flaw of the culturally conservative movement is that you can't convince people to be culturally conservative like you by A, being really lame, and B, trying to coerce people into it. Like, as will not be a surprise to returning listeners of the show, if there are any of those, I am pretty culturally conservative myself. I'm pretty sympathetic with how they say that you should live your life. Mm-hmm. But it's like, if you think that you can get people to live like that by just forcing them to, instead of trying to make an appeal to them about why they should do that, that's just going to make them want to do it even less.
That's totally
It also
fair.
doesn't help that every time you campaign against, drugs or rap music, all of your criticisms make no sense because you have no understanding of what those things are.
Yeah. Kind of like someone that talks about guns and doesn't know the first thing about a gun. You know what I mean? Like where it's like, it doesn't help the case.
That's a very good example. I've never heard anybody draw that parallel, but that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Like the New York Times journalist a few years ago, that like it's still in all the memes. When you see the AR possible modification and it's got all this ridiculous stuff on it.
Right.
Because the guy did a video, and I think he was like right outside of a porta-john too. It was really weird. He's like, my ears are still ringing, my hands are still shaking. I just got off the range. We shot like 5 clips of 4 magazines, and I just got all of it wrong. Like, didn't know what a caliber was. It was just this word salad of some dude literally shaking.
I go kind of easy on people that if you call a suppressor a silencer, I'm like, all the movies and games and stuff do it, and like just like I've let that go. Like, who cares? But like,
right, when you're a Kleenex is a tissue. They're both the same thing.
Right.
You ask me for either of them, I'm passing you the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like the people that get like so particular where like they'll hop on like the comment thread and be like, it's a suppress. I'm like, get out of here. Like, but it's who cares? But when you're trying to like advocate for like a policy thing where you're going to restrict something and you bring an image like into like Congress or something, and you're like a bump stock, and you're like, that's not even a bump stock. You know what I mean? Like, right. You're not helping your case when you don't even know what it is. Like,
yeah, when what they banned. Oh, well, if it just saves one life. Do you realize that like putting your thumb in your belt loop is better at rapid fire than those bump stocks that they kill?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
So,
honestly, I don't even want a bump stock. They're pretty useless, but
that's like Barbara Boxer, Dianne Feinstein. Of course, she's not plaguing the Congress anymore. But that was all the cases that they made against semi-automatic weapons, like they're so bad. Everything that they had against it was just how it looks, because again, they don't know what a caliber is. They don't know what velocity and trajectory is. They don't understand any of this stuff.
I saw there was something that it was like a thermos or something, and it was like bulletproof, and it showed like the image that it showed was the entire cartridge, not just the bullet, but the whole cartridge flying through the air, like and I'm like, you don't even know how it works. Like, you don't even know that it, is fired and then the bullet is pushed forward from the cartridge. Like, the whole cartridge doesn't fly through the air. Anyway, it was interesting.
Right.
So, and this was like on a, $1 million product branding level decision for packaging or whatever. And no one knew, like, at this point that doesn't make any sense. Anyway. And that's fine. That's one thing until you go to advocate for like a policy change, and then you make but go ahead, Zach.
I just imagine the people buying a bulletproof thermos would know better too. So like your own customers are going to instantly see it. Like
exactly, know your audience. Yeah.
I'm also wondering why you would want to buy a bulletproof thermos of all things.
You don't end up under heavy fire with your to-go lunch. Like
you're a trash man in Chicago.
Don't you care about your coffee?
Save your life.
What was that, John?
So don't you care about your coffee?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
it's true. It's for its safety, not yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually to stash all of your meth making products so your house doesn't blow up. Yeah.
Good callback.
Might have been an errant flare went off in there or something.
Yeah.
For the Baja Blast.
All right. So
that's what they should call a Taco Bell blowout now. It's just a Baja Blast.
anything else on this? I forget what topic we were even on. I think we were on
That
the
was
topic of the
blowing up in
house blowing
Alexandria.
up. Okay.
I don't even remember.
Zane almost did segue us though, because he talked about rap and rap lyrics.
Oh, that's
And
right.
one of the things, coming up in this Young Thug trial is his lyrics are on trial too, where they're like, you rapped about A, B, and C. Like, doesn't that mean you did it? So
That's absurd.
Well,
yeah. So Steve,
some
tell us
of his
about
stuff,
this. real
he
quick.
actually does give out methods and procedures because it's one of those things where, like, so what Fannie Willis was doing, because again, everybody involved in this case right now grew up watching Sir Mix-a-Lot, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre go through this same crap, Tupac, Biggie, in the early 90s of, well, free speech is free speech. I mean, we had this argument 30 years ago. But what this guy's doing is, like, he's talking about, like, who he meets, what he charges, how much he's delivering, where the drop point is. And then, like, a week later, the guy that he sold it to is getting arrested for that exact same stuff with all those details.
Well, that's not smart. I didn't realize that.
So, like, it's one of those things where at that point, they're kind of using that for corroboration. But
Right.
The interesting part in this here, so Young Thug is apparently a total piece of trash because this dude apparently he's legitimately running a gang, and not just like your government style gang. He's even worse than that. So it's racketeering operation, blackmail, drug dealing. It's all the bad things that you don't want around kids, basically. But it's getting nastier and nastier, and it's turning into a RICO case because apparently he's been in cahoots with some state level officials, maybe some federal people as well. Which that's been in the rap lyrics lately too. That we all know the Republicans are in charge of the cocaine running. Because they oversee the ports and the war zones in those areas. Supposedly that goes back to Bush, Mitch McConnell. His nickname is Cocaine Mitch, so he might be tied in with some high level politicians. But I shared the article because the funny thing to mention there was his attorney actually made the argument on the courtroom floor that the word thug, because he's like, people are giving my client a bad rap. I feel like there's a prejudice and a bias toward the word thug. And I just want to say that thug stands for truly humble under God.
Yeah. That's some. I want to hear John's take on this as an attorney about
if that turns out to be his
twist.
Johnny Cochran moment, I will flip out.
Well,
I'm
I'm also curious what John's take is as a comedian, because I'm sure
There you
not
go.
everything you've ever said has been true. So, like, what
Yeah.
if that was held against you?
My issue here is the extent to which it is, like, some people will say free speech, but it can also be used to think about. I'm not sure the extent to which it is admissible evidence for what purpose.
I wonder.
A lot of this stuff would be maybe argued as circumstantial,
Mm-hmm.
but from what I remember of evidence when I took it in law school is you can make a lot of arguments for a lot of different standards saying that this is admissible for this reason, and then there's another argument for the other side, and it really just comes down to what the judge says. I don't know all the facts of this case. I don't know all the evidence they're trying to prove correct or incriminating. My guess would be they would probably be able to admit it if there's enough
If there's
of
a
a relationship,
pattern.
if there's enough, right, if there's a very clear pattern, if it's just like an overwhelming amount of coincidence, then it would probably be
Right.
admissible.
If it's an uncanny amount of times where it's like, okay, now this is the 6th song and the 6th drug bust that correlate or something, then okay.
This kind of reminds me of a story I heard about an arson investigator who got busted for causing a lot of arsons. And the reason they were able to solve the case was, on the side, he was also a fiction author and wrote a series of novels about an arson investigator who was committing several arsons.
That's a little on the nose.
And they were based off of his own arsons.
Oh, that's like OJ writing the book about how I would have done it if I did it. Yeah, that was.
I didn't do it.
Courts were like, hey, whatever profit you make from that, that's going to her family. Sorry, buddy.
Right. There's I just watched the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer like 10 times, but in it, one of the, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but one of the little memes, like the commentaries on real world kind of a thing that they have going on. There's a lot of like Florida man stuff because it's, in Miami or Florida. And there's the picture of the guy. Actually, I think this was in LA, but he had like the Joker tattoos or whatever on his face, and he got busted because he tattooed on his neck, I think in Spanish or something, but he tattooed on his neck like what crime it was and who he killed or whatever, and they read the words on his neck, and then they were like that they took that as a confession and they booked him or whatever for it.
Oh my gosh!
But I was just reminded of that from the game trailer.
Well, and that was, going back to the old Snoop Dogg lyrics too, talking about, 187 when he's always talking about that. That was, what was it, Oakland, California, where he was? Compton or Long Beach, whatever. That was the walkie-talkie code for dead cop.
Oh.
So, I wonder how many of those guys, that, like, it's a gang initiation to kill somebody in a uniform.
Oh,
how many
probably.
would do like 187 and then a date?
Oh, yeah. That's not smart.
That would get a Darwin Award right there.
Yeah, don't date it. Yeah.
Two things I want to say about that real fast is a really good documentary on Netflix is called Grass is Greener, and it's about how the war on drugs is literally just a way to discriminate on the basis of race post 1964 Civil Rights Act. And they talk a lot about like rap lyrics. They talk about Snoop Dogg a lot, like back when he was coming out earlier on. The other thing I don't get is what I've seen practicing criminal law when I did that was, why do so many people post all this stuff in social media and put stuff in rap songs? It's like they want to get caught.
Yeah, there might be almost like the rap culture equivalent of like a package thief, where you get the rush out of it of like being, more, I don't know, daring with it or whatever.
Yeah, you can get paid twice for the same action.
Yeah. That's clever.
And it's not just our culture or like the United States either, because there's cartel rap and cartel music, and they do the same thing. They like rap about, brag about, the money they have and the drugs they sold and being in a cartel. And they build these big Instagram followings showing their, operations almost. But I guess they think, I'm not sure what they think, but it's like double dipping. It's like, I'll be in the cartel and I'll be Instagram famous, and like this is going to be a short life anyway, probably.
Oh, that's yeah.
We're here for a good time, not a long time.
Or initiation, like declaring you're part of a gang or declaring you've done this stuff.
Yeah, you can't really get out then.
That was fun to talk about. Anyway.
Well, also, a side note, because I've heard some talks. Some delusional talks, the last 10 years or so, that the word thug is inherently racist. Calling someone a thug, that's just, you're showing your racism. Just want to let everybody know that the word thug, it comes from ancient India. There was a group back then called the Thuggies, which is the Sanskrit word for concealment. And they were the first known group of assassins and people that would come rob you in the middle of the night.
I didn't know it.
So that's the origin of the word thug. Now, if you want to say that has racial overtones, it's towards Indian people. So,
okay, yeah, I'm not aware of that. You learn something every day.
Oh, absolutely.
Zach, could you get a new graphic for us for Etymology Corner?
Oh yeah, my wife got me an etymological dictionary last year for Christmas, so that's my jam.
Perfect.
Jake Green says it's a basic human emotion to desire. Jake Green says it's a basic human emotion to desire recognition for our actions that we're proud of.
There you go.
Yep.
So I guess
So they don't have
fancy
any
way of saying
moral
that
issue with
people
their
are
actions.
clout chasers.
Yeah, to them, they achieved something. They want to brag about it. You know,
And it looks like Grumpy is breaking news for us. It says CNN headline: Hunter Biden faces 9 criminal charges in federal tax case, including failure to file and pay taxes, among others.
Probably the least bad thing that he's done.
wow.
Honestly, I don't know.
All right.
All I have to say
let's
about
move
that is
on.
the founding fathers did not envision us. Go ahead.
No, I think we're on a little bit of delay.
I was just going to say.
You go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, very fast. I don't believe the founding fathers envisioned individuals to pay income tax because that didn't come around until 1900. That's all I have to say about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
I agree.
Right, but fractional reserve banking did originate in the late 1700s.
Did it really?
Yes, as we fought many wars and many struggles over the fractional reserve banking system, even harder and more violently than we did the income tax.
Maybe Jake's proud of this documentary that he made about that and wants to brag about that in the comments. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I don't have the big. Wait, I forgot to play the thingy to make it a big reveal that we're doing trivia. I don't even know where it is. There it is. We're doing trivia. All right.
Way to make a big thing out of it, Zach.
You're batting 1,000, Zach. Good job, man.
Yeah.
Do we have the music?
I hear a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, the music's on. I
Unless
have the
I'm
wrong.
truly going crazy, I hear the music. So
There we go.
Have the wrong
okay.
slide.
While you're getting that
It's
ready,
very faint.
Grumpy Gnome says he still believes that Hunter Biden is libertarian. Maybe ANCAP. I'm gonna go libertarian.
maybe yeah, right. You can be libertarian just on the tax front, like
Yeah,
tax and drugs, maybe. You know.
there you go. Well, the whole 10% for the big guy.
prostitutes.
That's a capitalist move all the way.
And guns.
Yeah.
So
should
he's
try to
really
recruit
most of
him.
the way there.
Yeah, we can recruit him.
There we go. All right. Got the right trivia up now. All right. So Libations trivia. And the categories this week are mixed bag because I couldn't find 10 full questions about any one topic.
Is that about drugs?
And then-
Mixed bag?
Maybe. Never know. And then
I got a mixed
hacking
bag.
and Japanese food.
Oh,
And I'll explain the rules a little bit.
thought that-
So, what's that?
Oh, you said Japanese food,
John,
and I was
I
like,
think
oh, so that's nah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You may be on a little bit of a delay.
I think so.
you in
Yeah.
this game. But I mean, feel free to come drop and come back if you want to try to fix that. And if not, then
That might be a problem with trivia. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, we're all gonna get stomped by Zane anyway.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Resistance is futile.
All right. So basically, round 1, 10 questions. They will be 1 point each. Round 2, 5 questions, 2 points each. Round 3, 3 questions, 3 points each. That's where people typically sometimes come back and beat Zane. Every question's a free for all, so I'll read it and then just cover your camera with your hand, and that's how I'll know to call on you. And don't blurt out answers. And if you win, you basically get nothing. But all that makes sense.
Yeah, we're playing for
Clear
just
as
pride.
All right, let's do it. All right, so I need to pull up the questions and read them before I reveal them. 1 sec. You would think I would have them handy and not just in like a million different.
That would make too much
notepads.
sense. We
Yeah.
don't do that.
All right, question 1. What was the name of the infamous New York crime family led by John Gotti in the late 20th century?
Gotti?
Zane.
Spaghetti raviolio.
You know what?
Yeah.
No, but you're on the right track.
No, that's not right. That's not it.
John.
The Corleone family.
We're getting close. I think if we combine some of these words, we might get it. All right, Alden, Steve. Let me reveal the question so you guys can read it.
I mean, I don't know.
All right. No guesses. All right. Anybody else for a reveal? I don't even know how to
if it's led by somebody named John Gotti, then would it just be the Gotti family?
The Gotti
Probably
fathers.
not. No. All right. Answer.
I'm so mad I don't know this one. Oh,
Gambino.
Hey, Grumpy got that one.
Did he?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, for those
give
in
it
the
to him.
comment section, for those in the comment section, we're not reading the comment section for answers. Yeah?
No, we do, actually. I was supposed to do that. So the audience wins that one.
There was one time that the audience did win.
Uh-huh. But what Zane's not mentioning is that Zane was in the audience.
Yeah.
We always have to like
score two.
We alley-oop that one. We always finish that humble brag for him.
I was just gonna say the humble part.
So the audience has won thanks to Grumpy Gnome.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jake also says, "Shut up, Zane," which is I don't even know what it's about, but
everything that I've said so far this episode.
Yep. All right. Question number 2. Oops. I revealed it. So Zane's already read it.
I was going to say I didn't read it, but Zane might have.
Who is the leader of the Chicago outfit during the Prohibition era, known for his role in the Valentine's Day Massacre? That's Alden, I think.
Al Capone.
Boom. Oops. There we go. Al Capone.
We'll get there.
All right. So audience 1, Alden 1. All right. Next question. Question 3. Who was the notorious Boston mobster and FBI informant who inspired the film The Departed? Alden.
Oh, I don't know about that one. I was going to say Whitey Bulger, but...
Whitey Bulger.
Oh, okay, yeah. Wow. I didn't know that it inspired The Departed.
Yep. All right. Question 4. I am losing track. There we go. Which drug trafficking and money laundering organization was known for its operations in Atlanta and buying billboards for publicity? Zane.
The CIA.
I don't know if they have billboards or not, but
that's worth drinking to. That's hilarious. I love that.
I mean, I want to say that they were probably somehow wrapped up in this. Let's be honest.
That was my favorite little Zane zinger ever.
That's another thing. We need a screen or a sound effect for Zane zinger. Steven.
Is it the YSL? Was it the young slime gang? The young thug led?
No, I think this one was more like 20-ish years ago. I don't know. I'm bad at dates, but it was in the past.
The young.
I was going to say the Coca-Cola company, but it was 20 years ago now.
Say again?
Oh, I said I was going to say the Coca-Cola company, but you said 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
also known as the Young Slime Gang.
Yeah, billboards for something with cocaine in it, you know.
It would be awesome if Coke still had the original recipe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right,
I think Steven, yeah.
The CDC.
CDC. Drug trafficking, money laundering, and billboards.
Boom.
I think you got it.
Publicity, yeah.
Nice.
All right. Any last guesses before I go on?
I mean, you're not going to beat CDC and CIA, so
yeah.
I do not know.
It was the Black Mafia family. So
I
yeah,
don't
so they
know
had
what that
billboards, they had a record label, and they were a gang.
Well, are you really a gang if you don't have a record label? I mean, come on.
Wait, it's
All
not
right, check.
Stank Anya, is it? That's Atlanta.
All right. Question number 5. What was the primary purpose of the Knights Templar when they were originally formed in the earliest 12th century? I think Stephen was
I think
first.
Stephen got it.
To
Yeah.
guard the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
That's not what I have, but I'm also not prepared to argue with you about that.
That's what I was gonna say. So that's. What do you have? Oh wait, the original. I think. Wait a minute.
The like what they said was the purpose.
Yes.
So maybe Stephen's off on what the real purpose was. I don't know, but
John, are you trying to wave your hand or?
Yeah, I am.
Are you just saluting? Yeah.
Okay, I'll change it. But I was gonna say, fighting the Crusades.
I think I know the.
Go ahead, Alden.
Yeah. Okay. It was to defend a road. The original purpose of them, I think, was actually to defend a section of road to protect people that were traveling. I don't remember the name of the road, but
I'll accept that. It was to protect Christian pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Wait, are you telling me that the Knights Templar are a medieval example of private security?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's literally what it was. That's what they said it was, but I liked Stephen's answer better. But
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, because what in the original Black Friday when they all got slaughtered?
is that what? Really? What? Black
Friday
Friday?
the 13th. Friday the 13th.
There we go.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
like,
I
Black
had the Friday
Friday.
thing right.
That feels weird, but I mean, America celebrates some weird shit, so why not?
When I was compiling these, I didn't come up with any like objections or any like things that might like you might not agree with the answer, but I didn't even foresee that one. But all right, question 6. Apart from their military and religious role, the Knights Templar also established a significant network in what other field? Stephen.
Oh, well, that would be part of their religious role. Oh, Knights Templar, significant network in what other field? Private security.
Maybe, but that is not the answer. Alden.
Animal husbandry.
Also maybe, but not what. I mean, they might have done all this. You know. John.
Moonshine. Alcohol sales.
Another good answer, which they probably were mixed up in, but at Zane.
Metallurgy.
Metallurgy. I don't even know what that is. I think I've heard the word on this show, maybe, but
I think we need another etymology.
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So apparently I need to tone the trivia down. This was supposed to be the easy section. So any last minute guesses? What other role were the Knights Templar big into?
Underwater basket weaving.
That's the damn it. I knew
That
it.
was more of a hobby. Stephen?
Politics.
Getting pretty close, but all right. Any last guesses and I'll just reveal?
Are you gonna do a hint or that'll work.
Banking? I don't know. I think I
That's fine.
sprinkled in some hints. Banking and finance.
So politics,
Yeah. All right. Question 7.
But everyone knows the baskets were what they sold to get all the capital to invest in banking. It was the underwater basket weaving ultimately was right.
Yeah. I think there's a typo in this one, so listen to me more than reading it.
Okay.
How many sides does the Great Pyramid of Giza have? Alden.
8.
8.
I'm
That's
not gonna.
right.
I refuse to lose on Egyptology questions.
What?
Oh.
Is there
Yeah,
like a
they're
inverted
concave.
pyramid in the ground?
No. Well, who knows? But it's concave, where each side is technically 2 sides. Like,
Yep.
Okay. Well, then
So it's
what
4.
about the inside and the outside? So I say 10.
It would be 16 if you were doing it.
yeah, if it was,
All right. Question 8. Which material used to cover the exterior of the Great Pyramid has since eroded away? That was close. I think it was Zane by a hair.
So I know the top was originally gold. I don't think the entire thing was gold, but I'll say gold.
No,
Nope.
it's
Alden.
limestone.
Yep. Limestone casing.
And it was
stones.
destroyed and used to build Cairo, basically. There's pieces of it just like as the foundations for buildings everywhere in there. They destroyed it.
And apparently it came from like 200 miles away.
The gold was the capstone, not the sides. That was just the capstone.
And all the
Purportedly.
builders were actually paid. The whole slave labor thing was just a Greek myth that was created later on.
There's a lot of
I can't even
writings
say that
about
with a
it,
straight face.
but we can do a whole episode on Egypt stuff later too, honestly, and just like what's right and what's wrong about all that. But
Or we could not do that.
or we could not do it. Yeah, I guess no one cares. So
Oh,
All right. Last one of the first round. So this is the last one that's worth 1 point. Question 9. The Egyptian Revolution of 2011 or the January 25th Revolution led to the resignation of what leader? Zane?
Morsi.
No. Steven?
Mubarak.
Yeah.
no.
Why did- Oh, I read the wrong question. So that one will be a bonus, darn it.
Oh, God.
It's
Question
King
10.
Tut.
Mubarak. I can't count, so I'd only done 9 questions. I already revealed this one. But so here's just a fun fact, not a trivia question.
Oh no, I would.
How many
Yeah, I would have.
you would have gotten this one?
Oh, for
It's
sure.
kind of a
yeah.
trick question.
No, it's
How
not.
many
if
mummies
you-
have been found in the Great Pyramids of Giza during
Fucking
modern
none, for
archaeological
sure.
explorations? 0.
It's none. It's because they
Oh.
weren't tombs. Like, don't even get me started.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's, I guess, the mainstream explanation that they were looted in antiquity, or there's the Alden explanation that they weren't tombs. But most of the bodies were just found in the Valley of the Kings.
Yeah, they're not in the actual pyramids.
Yeah. I didn't know you knew so much about Egypt, or I was trying to make this like a tricky.
I don't know
thing.
the modern Egypt. I know ancient Egypt. Yeah, Steven got modern Egypt.
All right. So I screwed one of them up.
That's
so
all
if there's a 1 point difference at the end, you guys can fight and blame me or whatever.
Just like honors code. Like, did you guys like know that as far as like how many mummies or?
I mean, whenever there's
Yes.
a numerical question, I will often just guess 0 because that's often the answer.
But did you know?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I'm with you, too. I'm of
figured.
the mind that they're not tombs.
I figured it would come down to maybe Steven and I. Zane just
There-
trying to guess 0, and then Steven
There
and
might
I.
be some bodies in the walls here and there, but they're not tombs.
No, I honestly, there's no reason for a body to have been in there if you really think about like what it was and all that. But
Bodies in the walls, is that like a Hoover Dam sort of thing where people just kind of
Absolutely.
fell in and
and then
yeah,
just
right
concrete
there?
over them, like yeah.
Yeah, the Upton Sinclair of the ancient world. Just,
people live at the stairs.
Yeah, fell in the sausage machine. Oh no,
Is that the guy that wrote the Jungle?
the
what is
jungle.
it? Yeah,
Talking
yeah,
about the
yeah.
modern meat processing.
Yeah. We're doing our own
All
side
right.
trivia right now.
Right.
No, that's what trivia is good for. It's just like it's basically a conversation starter.
It does kind of spur it on, yeah.
All right, so round 2, worth 2 points each, 5 questions, is hacking.
Wait, what are the
So
scores?
question-
I know I'm not doing well so far.
Well, I'm also really bad at keeping score, but I have audience at 1, Alden at 5, and Steve at 1.
Holy cow.
But
If
that's
anybody
only 8.
contested that, I would
That's all-
believe.
That's only. Or is
Well,
it
some of
7?
the
I don't
questions nobody got.
Yeah,
said-
there was a few no one got,
Did you say 5,
and
2,
one
and
that
1?
I screwed up.
Or 5, 1, and
Uh,
1?
1, 5, 1, so 7.
That's only 7.
Well, one of them I screwed up, and then 2 of them I think no one got.
Oh, I forget that sometimes we just are all idiots, right?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have been doing any better at this, by the way. So,
Have you ever played, or have you always been kind of behind the scenes for trivia?
I've always lost, but
But you have you've played a couple
Yeah.
times then, yeah.
yeah, I played last week even. I did
Oh,
not
my
know
bad.
any of them.
I'm sorry, man. Don't smoke weed, kids. You'll forget everything. Like,
all right, round 2, hacking. So the Stuxnet computer worm, discovered in 2010, targeted industrial control systems and is believed to have been created by which countries to impair Iran's nuclear program? Steven.
The United States and Israel.
Boom.
nice.
U.S. and Israel.
See, I didn't know that at all, and like literally though, that probably would have been one of my guesses, just because they like to fuck with shit over there. They're the two nations most invested in fucking with shit over there. But to be honest, I did not know that. So
I brought that up a few weeks ago because we
you?
hacked into their biggest nuclear power plant.
yeah,
We hacked into it and it was playing AC/DC's Thunderstruck at full volume, and they couldn't.
oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, it played for like 5 days before they finally just ripped the speakers down.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's too funny.
And one of the big things where I guess they had to know it was a state-sponsored creator was that it infected an air-gapped system. Which means it infected a system that wasn't even on the network.
Ever on the internet, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you even do that?
I think they transferred to thumb drive. Like the worm embedded into a thumb drive somehow and then got to it.
Wow.
Or the skiff wasn't really a skiff.
Yeah.
The
or
skiff
it really was
plugged into the main server.
Yeah, it wasn't air gapped.
Yeah, you're in a soundproof room, but you're still plugged into the main server.
They reverse Snowdened it, where they brought in a Rubik's Cube with a thumb drive in it into the place, like instead of out, you know. I guess no one knows that story. Never mind.
It's faintly familiar. So I guess that's how he smuggled the data in and out.
That's how he got it out, was the Rubik's Cube. And he tossed the Rubik's Cube to the security guard. And he was like, hey, you ever finish one of these? And like when he's going through the body scanner, the security guard's messing with the Rubik's Cube, so the cube never goes through the scanner. And then he hands it back to him at the end, and that's how he got it, the little SD card out or whatever.
Clever.
Yeah. I
Chelsea
don't know.
Chelsea Manning like had CDs, but they look like music CDs that she had burnt. Like,
yeah, this is just My Chemical
Romance.
Just like,
yeah, basically. I think it was just like pop music, like Britney Spears or something.
I was gonna joke and say Britney Spears. That's too funny when you said pop.
You guys leave Britney alone.
Mm-hmm. Who's got the dog?
Oh, that's somebody else in my apartment. I can go on mute.
No, don't
stop.
We barely heard it. Okay, question 2. The 2014 cyber attack on Sony Pictures Entertainment, attributed to North Korea, was allegedly in response to what? Zane?
The interview.
Yep. Release of the interview.
I was going to say the fappening, so.
Could be. Kim
Jong
Il was real mad.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. I don't know if I believe that or how they know that, but that's the reason.
Well, that was
someone hacked Sony.
Dennis Rodman brought back that information, right? Like he went undercover for us one more time so he could go play basketball with his buddy.
Oh, that's
and then
right.
Came back and he was like, "Yo, dog, it's that movie you released. He don't like it."
That's right. I forgot about all of that.
Yeah.
Because what was like, it was Kim's like favorite ball player or whatever, and he like granted him the special honor to come out and whatever. But I remember that now.
Yeah.
And then North Korea got hacked, like in response, in retaliation by who knows?
Oh, I'm sure, because I'm sure their shit sucks, like so.
Well, no, actually, they have a hacking. Well, never. I don't want to ruin the whole subject. Let's see if it doesn't come up again.
There's no more North Korea.
Okay.
They have a hacking group. It's like Bureau 13 or something like that, and they habitually run circles around us on the internet.
Really? Like, North Korea?
Yes. It's
damn
wild.
I didn't know. See? What do I know?
Well, I'm sure it's changed a little bit, but I had always heard that they don't have a ton of infrastructure to target to begin with. And then they go into China to hack so that, the source looks like China. And then like, if you wanted to just like hack them back, you're hacking some random.
And then CNN will say that it's Russia.
But I think what was it? The heart. Well, never mind. I don't want to ruin this again. Let's keep going.
I don't know anything about hacking, so like
I don't think you're going to ruin anything else.
Steven's just going to win this segment, I think so.
But all right, let's move on.
If there's a Mr. Robot question, I might get that. Like,
All right, hold on. I just realized I might not be keeping score. I'm also about to skip a question. All right.
We'll have to
Zane
scrub
just
back
got that
through
one
this.
right,
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
and that's 2 points. Boom. I had messed up again. All right, here we go. And I was about to mess up another time. I'm glad I caught that.
We're gonna get
All right,
participation trophies today.
Yeah, the first time I did this, I did not record the win. So Buddy, who won, he doesn't actually get that at all because I
Did
can't
Buddy win?
certify it. Yeah.
Oh man.
All
I
right.
don't even remember
Question
that.
3. John Draper, a legendary figure in the hacking community, famously adopted the nickname Captain Crunch. He earned by discovering a toy whistle found in the Captain Crunch cereal box that could be used to do what? Steven.
Phone freaking.
More specific.
He could hack the phone lines. Like he dialed into the president's office one time and prank called the president. He could basically, everything that used to have an operator for that would have to have the switchboard plug things in. Like he could access anything that was plugged into the telecom network.
If that's even remotely right, just give it to me.
Somewhat close, but I'll give it to you if no one else guesses it like right
Okay.
on. All right, Zane.
Dog whistle.
It probably could be used for that, but I think that had already been discovered.
Everyone knows it's a rape whistle.
Anyone else? What did the whistle in the Captain Crunch box do to the phones, basically? No.
Annoyed
All right,
them.
I'll give it. Yeah, it probably did.
See,
I'll give it to Steven. It was for making free long distance calls.
oh,
There we go.
It did. It opened up a bunch of the stuff that you're talking about, like different types of tones that could be played into phones.
so
But
it
this one,
led to that.
yeah, this one specifically, it made the 2600 tone. And that was what the phone system just happened to use to signify that a long distance call had been paid for.
Okay.
So you got to like dial a number, blow the whistle, and your call was free.
Oh, interesting.
Which,
Oh, is John
and then
frozen?
there was other ones. I think John is frozen. Let me take
Unless
him
he's
out.
just very, very still. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll just talk about phone freaking till he comes back, I guess.
Yeah, like *67. *67 would mask your number if someone had caller ID.
I thought phone freaking. That sounds like a 900 number to me. Phone freaking, but
There you go. But this is freaking with a PH.
oh,
So it's
See, I don't even
it's
know this
hacking the
term.
phone system with sound tones.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
all
'cause
I've done
once everything migrated over to digital, which that was a big problem for the John Birchers in the late '70s. Was it Project Echelon? I think it was, which was like the groundwork for the modern day surveillance system. But once everything moved over to the digital tone system rather than like an actual like switchboard type model, that was when it gave way to those kind of things where you could just play certain sound tones over the phone line
right.
and access certain features that were only available to administrators.
If you
of
knew the
network.
certain frequency, or it was
Right,
like a
and-
passcode of frequency. Like, I mean, I've seen war games. That's it. That's all I know. Matthew Broderick doing the like phone thing in his little setup. That's all I know. Like,
Yeah, but that was there you go. Hackers is the greatest.
Brian
movie of all
says,
time.
yeah. I have a VHS of Hackers signed by Penn Jillette.
Yeah, there you go. That was one of Matthew Lillard's best movies too. I'll just go ahead and say that.
Here's John's back.
did you guys see Mr. Robot, the show?
Yeah,
One of the
Well,
better
2 seasons of
hacking. Yeah, it's pretty cool. One of the better hacking
Yeah.
depictions on like a movie or show.
It wasn't too crazy either. Like it got crazy and there was like fantastical scenarios, but a lot of the times they were using real hacking tools.
They
and
hired
using
a
real
hacker
techniques
as a reference to make sure that it didn't go off the rails, and they like used him to sculpt kind of like how it would look and everything. But
well, yeah, like the movie Hackers. Hack the Planet. Had some cool stuff, but I mean they had a computer from like 1993, and then it's looking. The things it's producing was not capable for that computer.
yeah,
I mean, most of the time when you are watching a movie and it's about somebody hacking into something. It'll just be somebody typing extremely fast and a bunch of random letters appearing on the screen. It's like it's hard for me to suspend disbelief when you're putting in such a little effort into making it realistic. But I remember I was watching another movie a couple of years ago, and somebody was accessing the dark web. And the way that they did that was just go onto a regular web browser and type in dark web dot.
I've seen some rom-coms from the late 90s where people are like texting each other, and then it shows, they're holding their phone out the window or something like that, and it's a snapshot of an Excel spreadsheet. And I'm like, that's not a text message. What is that?
So I work in cybersecurity, and one of the companies I used to work for was, some people were interviewed on the news. They came to our office and they wanted to capture a bunch of B-roll. So I had coworkers who were firing up Hacker Typer, which is just like this website where like you just hit any key as fast as you want and it prints green text on the screen. So it looks like a matrix basically. And they were just like pounding on their keyboard, making this green text appear while the news shot it. Was like, love it. It's great. And then they could use it. It was on like 11 Alive. So.
That's such a good troll. Like if you know. That's hilarious.
Oh man.
Yeah, reality television is not real.
Yeah, no.
They even did the thing where two people tapped on the same keyboard at once. Nobody questioned it, but
wow,
like you're playing piano, like a duet, like
yeah. All right, question 4: which political figure has claimed past involvement with the hacking group Cult of the Dead Cow, recognized for coining the term hacktivism? I think I saw Zane.
It was definitely Zane.
Is out of the corner of my eye.
I was hoping you were gonna say which politician claimed involvement in the invention of the internet, in which case I was gonna say Al Gore, but you may have gotten me with this twist.
This one,
I don't know.
Apparently.
Ralph
the twist. All he said was which political figure. It's not a twist. It's the rest of the question.
Well, that's because he put his question. Yeah.
You're the M. Night Shyamalan of trivia.
Yes, that's what I was about to say.
The Cult of the Dead Cow. I think that's his upcoming movie, actually. Yeah. I mean, I'll make a guess. Like, yeah.
I think Steven had you by.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah. Is it Donald Trump?
No.
Okay.
He doesn't need a hack when he can time travel, right? So. Alden.
Hillary Clinton.
Nope.
Damn it.
And then Grumpy guesses Joseph Biden. I'm not sure if he knows what a computer is. And John, what do you got?
Nancy Reagan, just because I want it to be true.
Nancy Reagan. I want it to be true too, but that's not true.
Does hacking somebody count as bullying them?
Depends on.
I'll go with no, and I'll drop the hint that I'm fairly sure this guy was bullied way more than he ever bullied. Alden.
Okay. I have no idea now, but I'm just going to throw out Mitch McConnell.
No, it was not Cocaine Mitch.
Dang it.
And then I saw Steven's hand, and then John.
Barack Obama.
No, that was one of the few things Obama was not getting up to.
Dang it.
John.
Nixon.
No, he was a bully. He definitely bullied.
He'd have been a very early hacker too. Okay, last guess, Zane, and then I'll reveal.
I don't know.
Okay, it is Beto O'Rourke.
Wow.
He claimed to be part of the hacking group Cult of the Dead Cow.
Okay, so.
Well, I was in the Kekistan 420 Brigade in 2016. What you know about that?
That's
Who's
more
Beto
impressive,
O'Rourke?
honestly. He ran for some stuff in Texas a few times. He was the guy like, hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15s.
Oh, I don't know this guy.
Oh, yeah.
So I never would have got this. Yeah.
But hacktivism...
He was so successful not becoming governor of Texas that then he used that as a launch pad to not become president.
Nice.
There you go.
So he's like,
and Beto, don't try and church it up. You're white as a ghost. You're not Latino. Your name is not Beto, it's Francis.
Is that right? I don't know these jokes.
His name
I
is
don't know this
Francis.
His full name is
Robert Francis.
His full name is like Francis Robert O'Rourke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Where's
Beto was
Beto
like
come from?
a nickname he gave himself to like appeal.
Amelia Ninonette Thermopolis Rinaldi, Princess of Novia.
Right.
Anyway, so there's that. Beto, he hacks, he skateboards. He's going to take your AR-15. Question
He's
number
actually
5.
pretty good on a skateboard, I remember.
Yeah, he's got the tall linkiness, like, the Tony Hawk build. So
Yeah.
All right, last question of this round. Wait, have I been... Okay, no one got the last one. No one got... Okay, I'm really stuck at keeping score, but you guys are making it easy. All right, what was the primary motivation claimed by British hacker Gary McKinnon for breaking into U.S. military and NASA computers? Alden.
For fun.
I'm sure it was fun, but he had a bigger goal.
Dang it. I'm just making shit up because I do not know anything about hacker history.
Zane.
The Iraq War.
No.
I love
I
that
wish
every
I had
time
the year in front of me, but
every time that we guess and we're wrong, Zach starts nodding and then he's like, "Nope, that good guess." Like, I always think it's right, and then he's like, "Nope."
I'm just glad that people are guessing.
John's got one.
John's got a guess.
To impress Jodie Foster.
That is not it.
That's gotta be
Although,
it.
She had to have been impressed. Let's just be honest.
Is
Like
this
you break into
before
a military.
She came out of the closet, I guess. Yeah. It's got to be before.
All right, Steven.
Because he could.
Well, that's a
his-
lot like for fun.
That was it's his bigger motivation.
All right. Any
What
last
year was
guesses?
this?
I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
Because that would
I think
that
it
would
was
impact
I think it was the early 2000s. The early aughts.
Okay.
Did you have a guess, Alden?
Yeah. Because he wanted people to understand how bad Nickelback was.
Oh.
No.
Damn
Zane.
it. So close.
Hey, as bad as they are, prison gates still open up for them. Okay.
Because he was based and red pilled.
That's
I'd
probably
say
what
that
he would
was
say.
a tertiary motivation. All right. Last guess is John or Steven, I think. If anyone has any last ones, or I'll just reveal. Steven.
To
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, go ahead. Either way.
make people leave Britney alone.
I wish it would have worked, but it did not. And no. Steven, last guess.
I will say because we invaded the Middle East.
Nope. The answer
See, he
is-
nods again. Like he's like, nope. Pay attention. It's every time.
That one's way messed up, but it says looking for evidence of UFOs and free energy suppression.
Oh, okay.
And he claims he found a picture of a UFO that he didn't download because it was too big. I don't know, but that's what he claims.
Command
It
P,
was
my
too
man.
big to email himself as an attachment.
Right. Yeah, because early 2000s, both 3 megabytes was the cap.
He tried, yeah.
Jake says Nickelback is awesome. STFU.
Jake would like Nickelback.
Well, if only this guy could have taken Nickelback's advice and look at this photograph.
Yeah. I mean, he did look at it. He needed to
Oh
download
my
this
God.
photograph.
Zane, you're killing me tonight, man.
All right. So it is anybody's game. 3 questions, 3 points each. And it is about Japanese food.
Wait,
I was
still pouring
always
a drink.
shocked. Hold on, before we move on to this, I was always shocked that Chad Kroger was never featured in a Publix commercial.
That's true.
I think that would be a big stab by any other grocer to have Chad Kroger endorse you. So.
Okay.
All right. Question 1, round 3. What is the name of the Japanese dish made by fermenting soybeans with bacteria, known for its strong flavor and health benefits? Alden.
Miso.
No.
What?
Crap. I don't know who I saw next. Maybe I think it was Steven, Zane, and then John.
Oh. Never mind.
Edamame?
Nope. Zane.
Kimchi.
Nope. John.
Kimchi's Korean.
Yep.
I actually was going to say miso.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
He was gonna say miso.
Oh, miso.
Yeah.
All right. Did you have a second guess, Alden?
Fermenting. I mean, soy sauce is fermented soybean, but it's not a dish.
I mean, the dish literally just looks like fermented soybeans. It's sticky and kind of gross looking brown soybeans.
Okay, then I guess I don't know.
All right, I'll just go.
I wouldn't know because I'm not a soy boy.
Hold on. The audience already got it. It's natto.
All right, one for the audience.
Oh.
That is now the audience's second place.
If there's a low calorie version, is it natto light?
Could be.
I gotta try to keep up with Zane's zingers here.
All right.
Mine aren't as
question
good, to be
2.
honest.
Which type of Japanese green tea is ground into a fine powder before being mixed with water? Alden.
Matcha.
Yes, matcha.
I love matcha.
So, Alden. All right.
I was at a Libertarian meetup a couple months ago, and there was a guy there that brought like a traditional tea kit, and he was giving people samples of his tea. And he had one tea that he had like imported from China that was called like King of Duck Shit. I don't know why you would name anything that if you actually wanted people to drink.
Was it
but
like a false cognate, or was it in English like duck shit?
no, it was literally that. And I asked him like, "Hey, dude, what's the deal with that?" And he was apparently like, "There's a certain like aroma of duck poop, I guess, where you can like separate that out from just like the poop smell."
So like a sommelier might be like a little duck shit, you know, like yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
I've never really, smelled duck poop. So I don't really know what that is.
I haven't gotten that close.
Apparently it has a distinct flavor profile.
Or at least aroma. Hopefully not a flavor profile.
There was that one time with pixie sticks at Disneyland, but
we don't talk about that.
So that was a pu'er tea. And I think it's one of those things like with marijuana strains where they all just get wacky names like, oh, this is Northern Lights and this is Green Cough or whatever.
Dick in the dirt. And
yeah. So it's like all these pu'er teas just get like marketed differently, I guess.
Okay, gotcha. Energy drinks, apparently these kind of teas and weed have the weirdest fucking names.
All right. Last question. What is responsible for giving panko its distinctive texture during production? Zane.
Bread.
I mean, that is pretty important. Alden.
Freeze drying.
No. Like I feel weird saying no because you've worked in restaurants and I never have, so I'm like second guessing. But no, that is not the answer. I don't think.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll go with yeast.
Nope, not yeast.
John, you got anything?
Anything, John?
Getting yelled at by a tiger mom.
It probably helped, but Our format's so weird where we like require everybody to answer. It's like,
Yeah,
hey, you
yeah.
have no idea, but just think of something.
No, but you come up with some of the craziest shit sometimes, you know. I'll go one more if unless
Grumpy
you
knows
have a hint.
Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan. Horrible.
He's
How could I have
Chinese.
forgotten?
Oh my god. Yeah, exactly. Do you have a hint?
That's become some deep lore of the show.
It's a very much a returning it's now a motif of the show. If you don't have a hint, I'll go again. But
it's very unusual to be done to food, I would say. I think Alden's, you got to guess, and then we'll go to Steven.
You can go, Steven. That's all right. I don't know.
Okay.
They play certain music for it while it's filming.
Serenade it with Beethoven.
There you go.
That's not too far off from like their Wagyu, where they give
That's right.
cows
And that's how
beer,
some fine
massages.
Japanese vodkas are fermented.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Is it sun drying?
No.
Man.
So my grandfather recently started being on like the carnivore diet, and he was telling me about how you can make a replacement for panko by taking pork rinds and crushing them up and coating stuff in that.
It's keto breadcrumbs for sure. Yeah, I've done
Sounds tasty.
Yeah, it's not bad.
All right. Any last guesses,
You got me.
Steven?
They beat the crap out of it with a rock, and then they send it seaweed diving with mermaids.
That's got to be it. What did you say?
That's the traditional message.
I said fat content.
No. All right. I'm just going to reveal it.
Yeah.
What is responsible for giving panko its distinct texture? Electrical current.
Oh, no shit.
They run a current through the bread dough or something like that. Make it
Whoa.
very... Yeah.
That's crazy, actually. I did not know this. I have a new respect for panko now. The next time I eat tempura, I'm going to think of this.
Wow. One might almost say that it's thunderstruck.
So I'm not sure how my questions were because not a lot of points on the board, but still, Alden
I didn't
wins.
win, so
I really don't even know where that picture came from.
You sent it to Jake when he asked for it.
No, that is not the one that I sent him for sure.
Oh, then I don't know.
I didn't have sunglasses on I wasn't I didn't send him a picture all leaning over, so I have no idea.
Anyway.
I did send him one, but he didn't use that.
Did I beat the audience? Was I actually second place?
No, audience was second place. So it was Alden, audience, and then Steven Zane.
Oh, you got bronze.
So,
bronze ain't bad.
All right. So that is trivia. So let's keep going. Now we're going to talk about
the birds and the
Vivek
bees.
And the Nikki Haley and all the crap that happened in the debate last night that I'm sure.
Didn't he say that you pronounce his name Vivek, like cake or something?
I have no idea.
I thought he said that.
I'm pretty sure it is pronounced Vivek because when I was at Pork Fest over the summer, a bunch of his campaign people were there and they kept having events called Shake with Vivek, which only makes sense as a name for an event if it's pronounced Vivek.
Yeah.
Because all good event names rhyme.
V-Dog, yeah.
All right, so let's watch this clip from last night.
That's a great pause for her.
Right. V-Money.
She said that I have a woman problem. Nikki, I don't have a woman problem. You have a corruption problem. And I think that that's what people need to know. Nikki is corrupt. This is a woman who will send your kids to die so she can buy a bigger house.
Yeah.
This is the problem. Using identity politics more effectively than Kamala Harris is a form of intellectual fraud. And it actually needs to end. There's our donor puppet masters wielding their puppet right up here tonight. This is how this game is played. The puppet masters put up their puppet, and I reject the use of identity politics in this party. It has been a cancer coming from the left, and I'm sick and tired of the double standards the people of this country are too. Having 2 X chromosomes does not immunize you from criticism.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Governor Hayes.
She said that I have a woman problem. Nikki, I don't have.
So what do you guys think about that?
Oh, that's great. Well, and it's even great branding, because even his hairline does a V. But I looked at his earlier debate when he said that Nikki Haley is just Liz Cheney in 3-inch heels.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's awesome. Like the only guy standing up for her was Chris Christie,
which
is a real accomplishment coming from him.
Yeah,
exactly.
No one wants to be defended by Christie. So,
well, as far as I know, he just wallers on the beach. He doesn't actually stand for anything.
The general concept, though, of like the identity politics in general and stuff, and I mean, I tend to agree that it just doesn't have a real place there. And if you resort to saying something like that, it probably means that you don't have a stronger case to make.
There we go. Well, exactly. I like the things that he's saying lately. Vivek has now given at least 2 interviews to Alex Jones, which
has he?
I've seen more conservative pundits actually losing their minds over the fact that he gave an interview to Alex Jones than what he actually said during the interview.
See, and there again, though, that's a similar kind of a thing of like this guilty by association, identity politics, like adjacent thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say that Vivek is the only Republican up on that stage that is acknowledging the faults of the Republican Party currently.
He seems like he's on the meta level, kind of like breaking the fourth wall of the party a little bit.
Well, he's building on kind of like what Shiva Ayyadurai, the guy that created email. He's kind of building on like what his platform was, but he's a little more radical with it. So it's obvious he's trying to anneal the independent base. He's trying to anneal the libertarians that still don't vote libertarian.
The libertarians that don't know
he's setting the edge on the political spectrum right now, but he's actually doing a good job at moving the Overton window as well.
Yeah.
So RFK, moving the Overton window on one single issue, medical freedom, which is very important. But again, RFK is status quo on everything else.
More on the statist level on everything else.
I mean, he's a Kennedy, for God's sakes. How pro freedom is he really going to be? How pro freedom is he really allowed to be? Right? It's one of those things. It's like if he could wind up like Princess Diana. Princess Diana hated the royal family, and then you got Queen Elizabeth. That I understand that she's actually a mechanic. She's got a degree to be a mechanic and all that kind of stuff. So how did her brakes fail? How did Princess Di's brakes fail if your mom is a mechanic
in a tunnel?
Yeah,
where no one can see what's going on. Exactly.
So that could be RFK. It could be Chappaquiddick all over again. Instead of some drunk floozy, it's him in the passenger seat. So I don't see RFK really breaking the mold on that kind of stuff. But Vivek is he's bringing topics to the debate stage that are not even in the cards to be debated by the Republican Party.
Right.
Obviously, they want to beat their chests on this. Oh, well, we're not going to allow men in the women's restrooms, or crap like, oh, we got to support Israel. That's all the stuff that they really want to talk about. But he's bringing stuff to the table. They don't.
Is that the Republican stance? Is supporting Israel?
Oh yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Big time.
I'm so out of the loop. I don't know what's going on with that because.
Yeah.
But is that like very well established?
Well, I mean, Israel basically quarterbacks our war machine, which is the Republican Party.
It used to be the Republican Party.
Well, I mean, it's the military-industrial complex. So there's some of the industrial dweebs that have come over from the liberal side of things that are still a part of it. Because they were big in finance or whatever.
Finance.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Once you go to school for it, it's finance, not finance.
Yeah.
But I like what Vivek is doing in the sense that, or Vivek, however you pronounce it, V-Dog. I like the way V-Dog is bringing some things to the table that they don't really want to talk about because Trump was really the first one that we saw kind of bringing his own topics to the debate stage. You know, they would ask
That's
him
what
a
I
question,
mean.
and he would say, "That's great, you're worried about that, but let me tell you what I'm worried about." And then he would say something totally different. And
I think he's doing a pretty good job of, like, instead of doing more of like the Trump flavor, like the whataboutism, where it's like you ask him a direct question and he's like, well, what about, you know, them doing cocaine? And, you know, but it's like totally not making a point. It's just like, you know, getting us on another topic. He's doing a little bit more of like a meta level, like fourth wall break of like, okay, but before we talk about that, what about this underlying, you know, seed of corruption thing that is actually taking that question that you're asking and complicating it, like it's related at least, and it's more intelligent.
Now, me and the audience have questions for you,
Mrs.
Moderator,
right,
and for the rest of you. You know, he's doing that kind of thing. He's putting onus on the candidates and the moderators
and the system itself. Go ahead, Zane.
Vivek is, you know, targeting and attacking a lot of the same people that Trump did, but it's obvious that he's a lot smarter and understands the policies a lot better.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm not saying with that, you know, we should all like support Vivek for president, but what I am saying is with Vivek and RFK both, I think what's far more important than whether or not I would personally vote for them is the net effect of their candidacy on the national dialogue, which for both of them has unquestionably been a very positive impact compared to had they not been running.
Agreed. Yeah. How are each of them bringing up things and shifting the conversation and sort of affecting the general American like view and zeitgeist and understanding of different things, and like what are we even going to call into question and not, and what are we going to accept and not?
What do you think about all this, John? Oh. He's gone.
That's what he thinks. That's great timing, though.
And I'm
What do you think, John?
Am I coming through?
Yeah.
You're back.
Okay. Cool. Okay. First things first, I did not watch the debate because it's not our party. But
nor did I.
A lot of very good shade I'm missing out on by not watching the debate. That was a lot of fun. And the thing about Israel is the official story here is, you know, Israel's been an established country for like 70 years because of things like the Holocaust showing that the Jews need a home base or else they're going to get messed with by people they have to share land with. That's like the theory. And Palestinians generally don't really mind the borders, right? They just want the ceasefire to happen. And Hamas wants its real estate back. A lot of people say that it's going back to these like tribal wars that happened back like in the Old Testament and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's the 21st century. There are civil ways to handle this. And I believe there was a story showing that Hamas like blew up a hospital with like 1,500 of Palestinian children inside, just try to make it look like Israel did it, when U.S. and Israeli intelligence has proved that it was in fact Hamas. So there's that. Somebody said something about a Kennedy, and it took me back to the recent South Park special with the Pandaverse. Just thought I'd throw that out there. And
I haven't seen that one.
This thing. This is a quarter that was minted at the U.S. Mint last year. And I don't know if you could see it, but it has someone on it named Wilma Mankiller.
What?
Her last name is Mankiller.
I'll have to look.
And this is on the back of a U.S. quarter. Yeah. And not trying to slight her legacy as like this big Native American icon, but just the last name was interesting.
Yeah.
So that's on our money. And if you want Native American representation, especially female Native American representation, I also regularly order these very nice, I'm sure y'all have seen these before, Sacagawea dollars.
Sacagawea coins, yeah.
They got little ballerinas on the back now. So what I'm saying is, what's this?
There's definitely more on masculinity.
Yeah. I think that's probably not an accident in terms of the
fun things to think about.
Symbolism.
Well, and it's with the rise of the Me Too movement. I mean, how many celebrities now have been deposed by this? The misogyny that's just pervasive in our culture, but there's no talk of misandry. How many women executives do we have that hate men? You know, like there's no reciprocation. And that was why, like, the Proud Boys were like the closest thing you heard to like men's rights advocates, right? But then, like, the way they were always brought up was as a joke on any kind of anything of like, oh, well, he's a men's rights advocate, whatever the hell that is. You know, it's definitely worth talking about. It's one of these things, like there's a preponderance of coincidence that you can't separate. Like, it's so statistically impossible for this much coincidence to coincide at the same time that it's just the only thing that you could logically deduce is that there is a concerted attack on
save. I feel like this whole line that you just said is like that you could use the same sentence in the 9/11 debate that we're going to have here pretty soon.
Yeah, there you go. Pretty much. But it's, and that's one of the things you look at with like the Al-Aqsa attack, Israel and Palestine. There's a lot more at stake here because, what Hamas is using as grounds to launch attacks on Israel is that they're pro-abortion, that they're pro-gay, all this kind of stuff. And they're totally not, because where they come from, they throw gays off of rooftops. But it's also worth noting that Hamas is not welcome in any other Muslim nation while we're on the Israel-Hamas thing. I mean, like, even Turkey is like, ew, no, I don't like them. But, as soon as you start messing with them, they're like, hey, quit messing with him. And it's like, well, how about he lives in your basement? And then Turkey's like, no, my basement's full. Actually, it flooded last month. It's got mold in it. No one wants the guy that, like, he's the drunk uncle that no one wants at any family gathering.
Mm-hmm.
But they want Israel to somehow put up with him being in the backyard.
Well, the thing with that is the one country that actually does want them to remain in power is Israel, because it's important to remember that, Hamas is full of a lot of really bad dudes who, are pretty terrible people who want terrible things. However, the only reason that they're in power in Palestine at all and not more moderate political authorities is because Israel keeps giving them a ton of funding, because they know that if they have an extremist group in power in Palestine, it makes it easier for them to be like, well, we can't negotiate with these people at all because look how extreme they are. And there are lots of speeches by Netanyahu and many other, high-ranking Israeli politicians. There's a quote specifically from Netanyahu who was whoever is in favor of, I forget what the exact quote was, but it was something to the effect of, if you're in favor of not compromising with Palestine, you need to have Hamas remain in power, because that's the best thing optics-wise for Israel, because they always have somebody to point to be like, well, these are so unreasonable, we could never negotiate with them.
It's like the Trump thing for our media, where you have this, like, obstinate, loud, obvious figure to kind of be the scapegoat for things and to be like, see, this is why we have to, be opposed to this kind of a thing.
Well, yeah. And then let's see here. What was it? So the term Palestine didn't even really come about until, what was that? I think it was Hadrian. He suppressed a Jewish uprising. And he was so pissed off about the uprising that he named their land Palestina afterwards, which was the Philistines at the time. So, for you biblical scholars, anybody talking about, the shibboleth, being able to distinguish the Philistines from the Gentiles and all that kind of stuff or the Jews from the Gentiles. The Philistines were among the Gentiles, I think, but they couldn't properly pronounce the word shibboleth. So even there was a whole thing in the Bible with that like, if you couldn't say the word shibboleth, you couldn't get into the lands.
Another etymology note here.
Yeah, but it was ancient Rome. It was, I believe it was Hadrian. Ancient Rome conquered the Jews, let's say, and named the land Palestina because he gave the land to their enemies at that point, just to put a thumb in their eye. And that's the only claim they have to the land, was that, a Roman emperor gave it to us. which really, the modern day Palestinians are just Jordanian refugees, from what I understand. Like, post World War II, Jordan kicked them out because, again, it's the drunk uncle. No one wants the family reunion. All the Muslim nations are like, you're pretty weird. Get away from me. And, he just kind of set up shop in Israel's backyard. And everyone's like, you can't let him leave. You don't really have to give him rights, but you can't let him leave.
So
I just found the quote from Netanyahu that I was trying to think of, which is he said when talking to other members of his political party that anyone who wants to thwart the establishment of a Palestinian state needs to support strengthening Hamas. This is part of our strategy to isolate Palestinians in Gaza from Palestinians in Judea and Samaria.
Well, and there's plenty of news articles that have since been purged from the internet, but they're from 10, 20 years ago, post 9/11 world. So obviously, we set up Al Qaeda, right? Al Qaeda literally means the base. It was what the Pentagon named our training compound over there when we sent Tim Osman over there, who became Osama bin Laden, when we radicalized the Mujahideen against the Soviets in the late 70s. So we created Al Qaeda, but there's evidence that Hamas was actually somewhat created and funded by Israel. It's the whole wag the dog scenario. Like as long as you have a constant oppressor on the outside.
Yeah.
What's even better is if you can make them controlled opposition, right?
That's the word controlled opposition was literally like on the tip of my tongue there.
Yeah. Well, it's just like what the CIA, it's what they did with the Aryan Brotherhood or any actual white racist organization, like the Klan. Like their big leadership is in Supermax prison. The guys calling the shots nowadays that are actually, causing race riots or whatever are federal agents that have been implanted in this organization. And, if they actually try to arrest each other, they'll find out that they're both federal agents.
I think in terms of controlled opposition in more things now, like the older I get, whether it's between nations or political parties or whatever, this concept of like you have to have this opposing force, this foe, the like Batman and Joker kind of a thing, to perpetually just be in this battle, and to be able to then emotionally sort of like appeal to people and win people over and like, get things done. And it's a manipulation tactic, and it's been going on for forever, and it still lasts. And
it's one of the things, when Obama got in for his second term, because there was a gaffe that all the big shot Republicrats couldn't help but make fun of him for months and months at a time. I think Sean Hannity opened his show for 2 or 3 months.
Is this Mustardgate?
About like, I've been to 49 states. I've got 5 more to go, or something like that.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that.
Don't quote me on the exact.
OIC thing. What's
that?
I said the OIC thing.
Yeah, the OIC, the Union of Muslim Nations. That basically have their own government. So like the number of states that Obama referred to, coincidentally, was the number of Muslim states in the OIC, and it was the same year because he had so like on his campaign trail, he went to several states, hopped over there. I forget if it was like Kuwait or Dubai or something like that. And then, the OIC had their big plan where they launched it was like their Bilderberg meeting, basically, where they launched their 10-year plan of action that had a whole lot to do with propaganda and skewing gender identity of the accepting American public.
I think the last time you talked about this on the show and we clipped it, it's now our most viewed clip on Instagram. So maybe we should talk about this even more, because apparently it's what the people want.
Yeah, well, I mean, does his ring have the Shahada on it? I don't really know. He did the Muslim call to prayer better than an Egyptian imam could, because the Egyptian imam actually got scared when he did a speech right after Hosni Mubarak was deposed by the Muslim Brotherhood during the Muslim Spring that Hillary Clinton was a big part of. So, getting into the whole Israel-Palestine thing is an entire can of worms that, I mean, really, you got to do 1,000 years of research to be able to like even talk about it.
Which, I mean, the Holocaust is kind of a big, like.
What was that, John?
The Holocaust.
I was going to say that was kind of like a huge part of that 1,000 years of research when why we decided that they probably needed their own. Am I coming through?
Barely.
Yeah. Okay. I see you guys now. I was just going to say, yeah, there is like this huge debate, but at the end of the day, that's at least the official reason why Israel has its own established boundaries.
Absolutely. What was it, like the late 1920s, I think, 1930-ish, something like that. I forget what it was, but there was this big accord, and the Muslim nations were invited to the table, and they did not come. And so we made this decision. We carved out the boundaries, and then they showed up 20 years later saying, you know what, we changed our mind. We want this.
Mm.
I remember the first time we talked about the OIC, I got hung up and couldn't read the word organization. But it turns out it was the British spelling, so it's not my fault.
Oh, is it different?
Yeah, there's extra vowels in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's like organization with an S.
Oh,
yeah.
That's funny.
Hey, I got to take a quick break. I'll be right back, guys.
He's gonna.
All right, we're gonna watch the next Vivek clip without you. So sorry, but here it is. More dunking on Nikki Haley. Oh, come on. When I leave these tabs open for too long, they don't like it.
Oh, yeah.
Place for everything. We need somebody in the White House who absolutely is going to be a fighter when it counts. And I did say that there were some good.
The first few seconds of this is just political nonsense. I meant to fast forward it.
I'll say that jokingly. Ron DeSantis.
I just want to get to the insults.
I want to go back though to Nikki Haley's comment from earlier that she is
sounds like here
not responding to the will of these donors. Nikki, you were bankrupt when you left the UN. After you left the UN, you became a military contractor. You actually started joining service on the board of Boeing.
Her face is just like, who, me?
For a very long time.
Yeah, yeah.
And then gave foreign multinational speeches like Hillary Clinton is. And now you're a multimillionaire. That math does not add up. It adds up to the fact that you are corrupt. And when I said they were bought and paid for, I meant the Republican establishment, not the Democratic establishment. Now you have Reid Hoffman, the person who's effectively George Soros Jr., funding lawsuits across this country against Donald Trump to keep him off the ballot, funding left-wing causes. We discovered this week that he is one of Nikki Haley's largest supporters. Larry Fink, the king of the woke industrial complex, the ESG movement, the CEO of BlackRock, the most powerful company in the world, now supporting Nikki Haley. And to say that doesn't affect her is false, because it's after that meeting later that day that she says that every American needs to be doxxed by having their ID, their government-issued ID, tied to what they say on the internet. So I think that this is far more corrupt than I even imagined when I entered politics. But I will say this. It is going to take a leader from the outside with fresh legs from the next generation to unite this country. Not the broken politicians who are puppets of the puppet master.
I feel like Nikki's look is just like not denying it. Just like,
yeah. I kind of agree.
Wrote the Declaration of Independence. Yeah. I think it's going to take somebody whose best days in life are still ahead to see a country whose best days.
All right. I meant to just play the negative parts of that, not all of his speech, but
well, so he does have a point, right? Because that's been the Democrat mantra for at least since I've been able to vote for the last 20 years, was that, we don't need some angry old white guy trying to tell us young folks what to do. We're multicultural, we're accepting, we're diverse, all this kind of stuff. So he has a point there, even though since I've been able to vote, all we've ever put in is angry old white guys. I mean, even Obama, we voted for the white half, let's be honest. But talking about the best days being ahead of him. I mean, really, do we? A guy that's in his mid-70s, do we really expect him to be able to connect with the younger populace and tell them, and lead them? Because when you elect somebody that old, and these guys even slip up.
Biden right now.
Yeah, on their inauguration speeches, they even slip up and talk about
something.
I'm ready to rule from day one, or we're going to rule like this. We're going to rule. They're not leading. We want leaders. That's why Milei was so popular in Argentina. He says, I didn't come here to lead sheep. I came here to wake up lions and wake up, damn it. And that's one of those things that it gets people going. But these guys are like, I'm your ruler. You're going to listen to me. It's the the Andy Griffith, authoritarian style fatherhood kind of thing. Like, you're going to listen to me or I'm going to slap you a little bit.
Yep. Let's move on real quick because we're running out of time a little bit. Let's hear Nikki Haley's big moment.
We really do need to ban TikTok once and for all. And let me tell you why. For every 30 minutes that someone watches TikTok, every day, they become 17% more anti-Semitic, more pro-Hamas based on doing that. We now know that
So by now,
of adults 18 to 25 think that Hamas was warranted in what they did with Israel. That's a problem.
So now everyone is 1,000% anti-Semitic at this point. Like, what are we talking about?
At least, yeah. So it
Like,
sounds
all
like
I've
it
got
takes
to say about
under
the whole
3
social media-
hours. Go ahead, John.
It's that delay. I'll get better internet next time. All I've got to say about a lot of social media that we've been dealing with, what is it with all of these apps that have misspelled names?
Yeah.
All the good ones are taken.
Grindr, like, etc. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Facebook is spelled with a C. That's stupid.
Well,
No, I had to come up with a stupid tech name too for my company. So all the good ones are taken. There's just like band names. You got to really dig deep now.
Right.
Put an umlaut on it,
Instagram used to call my drug dealer, so I'm really confused.
Nikki Haley's
grandmother on speed dial.
What's that?
Nikki Haley's statistics were so butchered that you would think they were just taken hostage by Hamas.
Yeah. She was like forced to read it,
Yeah. So that seems like it would take you just under 3 hours to become full Hitler.
Yeah.
Watching TikTok.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, pay attention to, TikTok is, I don't want to sound too much like my dad here, but, TikTok is a Chinese app.
Right.
So,
Right.
Pay attention to the major players involved in this stuff.
You don't need to fully defend TikTok by also calling out Nikki Haley's statement as being ridiculous, though. You know what I mean? Like, these are, not mutually exclusive things or whatever.
But I'm saying, consider the medium as well as the source. It's one of those things that, there are certain apps that are there to, most of the social media apps are there to first and foremost sell ads.
Addict you.
Yeah, but
so that you spend time.
And addict you otherwise. Like
Yeah.
the infinite scroll. That was one of the things that, there's plenty of documentaries that you can watch.
Yeah.
But Sean Parker, the Napster guy.
Yeah.
Which is not Justin Timberlake. It's an actual person.
Yeah.
He left the Facebook board after the Infinite Scroll came out because he knew it was just for addiction.
Yeah.
Because what they used at their board meeting to justify the Infinite Scroll was the serotonin hit that you got when you scrolled down and it loaded a whole new page.
And then all the people that are like the higher ups at the company don't let their kids use it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's one thing Vivek keeps hitting Nikki Haley on is that her daughter uses it. Her daughter's like 25. I mean, she can make her own decisions.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that is a little hypocritical if your mom is
she's fair game.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's
one of the things I'd heard about the Infinite Scroll too was that they had tried to emulate slot machines. Like you do the pull and get new results, just like Twitter, Facebook, whatever you pull down.
It's been made the comparison,
but I'm here
for sure.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, B.F. Skinner, he pioneered operant conditioning. The early 1900s. So I mean, the science underlying this stuff is not new. I mean, that's why big major Fortune 100 companies that bring on major psychologists like Edward Bernays, Sigmund Freud's nephew. He put out a lot of the ad campaigns of the early 1900s that is some of the most unhealthy crap you've ever seen. Like Crisco, for instance. It was like machine grease for submarines from World War I. They couldn't do anything with it. They literally paid the American Heart Association $20-something thousand to put out a newspaper article saying that it was heart-healthy alternative to animal fats.
Listerine.
And then here we are 100 years later, we're still eating Crisco, and it's freaking submarine machine grease, y'all. Stop eating the crap.
I can't eat it anymore. A recipe called for some certain cookie or something like that, and I had the Taco Bell problem for days. I can't. My body doesn't process it. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And Listerine was initially made to be a floor sanitizer, and they couldn't sell it as that. So then they basically repackaged it and remarketed it, and was like, "Put it in your mouth," and like, "Don't swallow, but put it in your mouth." Like,
oh yeah, there you go.
Put
Well,
some
and
Windex on
then,
it.
bacon and eggs is a a heart healthy breakfast, because nobody was buying pork bellies in the early 1900s. It was
Well,
garbage.
that's some propaganda that I can really get behind.
I'm okay with that one. Ron
But,
Swanson in me is fine with that.
I think part of this problem too is people confusing the role of government with the role of parents, because everybody who is getting really upset about like, oh, children are getting addicted to TikTok, we need the government to ban it. No, we don't need the government to ban it. You need to be a better parent.
Yeah,
well, yeah, because the big push when I was in high school was to ban the Anarchy cookbook, right?
Oh yeah,
and that was all the parents were talking about at the school board meetings. Oh, we got to ban the Anarchy cookbook. Well, the next thing I know, all of my friends are making, they're filling tennis balls with whitehead matches. To like, oh, let's see if we can make napalm. Maybe I can break into a vending machine.
Napalm is. I thought it was equal parts gasoline and orange juice concentrate was napalm, but
styrofoam.
Or is that Agent Orange? Maybe that I don't know.
The strike anywhere matches. You can cut off all the match heads and put them in a tennis ball and slam it on the ground, and
it'll blow up or whatever.
Kaboom!
Yeah, of course.
But now you can just watch that on YouTube. You don't have to actually do it.
Well, sure, but Anarchy Cookbook gave you a bunch of how-tos, about like, metal washers, arcade
also
vending machines, except those as quarters.
Like they tried to say banana peels were some sort of drug. But
yeah, you got to put nutmeg.
That one didn't pan out. Well, the nutmeg is the drug then, but
yeah,
nutmeg actually. I've not done this, but like if you eat enough of it, apparently, you can get high on it. But
apparently, it's very unpleasant.
I'm
never going to do that either. But,
yeah.
I tried. It's not worth it.
Every time John speaks, I can't hear the first time he speaks, but then the second time. Yeah.
Oh, I said
it's like the first one's
not
awful.
worth it.
See, and then it comes clear the second time. Like, yeah, exactly. It's so funny.
So, what are your thoughts on all of this? Banning TikTok and kids being addicted to it. What do you think?
But, I liked what Zane said about how you need to put your children in their place and stop bringing the legislature into it, because it's ridiculous. It's like what we saw with the drag bans in the past year. Don't get mad at drag queens doing their job. Don't bring your kids to bars, Oliver Twist. Like, what is this about?
Yeah. Was that in... So I live in Tennessee, but I think this happened right before I moved here. But was it Tennessee that banned drag or something like that? Or... I don't know. I was in the middle of a move and I heard about this.
Tennessee was sort of like the hub.
Yeah.
Tennessee. What?
Then meanwhile, here in Georgia, you got the city of East Point that you go in their zoning office, right? You want some zoning information on a piece of property. You're going to sit at a desk. This entire huge, brand new brick ornate building, marble floors. The Venetian columns, the works. Awesome. Fantastic government building. There's like 5 people in it, and 2 of them are janitors. All the government people still work at home.
Grumpy.
They just built this building. So if you want some zoning information, you're going to sit at a terminal and you're going to wait, and this little light's going to turn on, like a little light ring, and then the camera's going to activate on a laptop, and you're going to have a Zoom call with a government worker that still works from home while you're in the brand new government building. But they're going to they had a drag queen story time on the courthouse steps of this new building. It wasn't the courthouse steps. It was like the new, government complex. They had a drag show on the doorstep of this thing on a weekend one time. And it's like, your own people don't even work here, but you're letting, that didn't make sense to me. Like, it was just like, you're just trying to piss people off at that point. And quite honestly, anybody attention is already pissed because you're not inhabiting your own building that we built for you.
Yeah, that's like, I think a key point of that is like the taxpayer money building that's way more than it needs to be, and then doesn't even you could just do it. You could do it from home if the employee is at home Zooming. You could Zoom from home. You don't need to be there. Like,
yeah. And the whole thing about the drag show on the doorstep of the place, I can really care less about that. If it's after business hours, whatever. Because at that point, like, it's your job to find ways to reduce your expenses. So if someone wants to help pay the rent, someone wants to help keep the lights on, and it's not causing anybody direct physical harm, whatever.
Yeah.
Because you have to advertise whatever it is ahead of time, so you know what you're getting into, and if you don't want to see that crap, don't go around that building.
Yeah, I agree in general. Just like across the board, if you don't want it, don't buy it. If you don't want it, don't do it. And if you don't want your kids doing it, don't let them do it. Like, whether it's a video game or drag show or whatever, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be allowed to do it as consenting fucking adults. And in America, it's insane.
Just keep the kids out of it. But and again, hey, I'll give you guys a little spoiler here. Libertarian movie review, the movie Wish. So if you're going to look at this through a religious lens, you're not going to like it, because there's some witchcraft and stuff involved in that. But if you can sift through that, if you can get through that lens, there is some big overtones that's being pushed to the kids right now, and I like this part of it for this movie in particular. It's don't look to the government to fulfill your wishes. You're fully capable if you believe in yourself and you have a support network of people that you support and they support you, and you guys unite on issues. You can achieve anything.
Okay.
The sky is the limit. That's the overarching theme that I got from that movie. I took my 7-year-old to see it last weekend. We loved it. We laughed. It was a good time. Like I said, if you're going to look through it, from a religious ideological lens, there's going to be some witchcraft stuff that, like, if you really don't like Harry Potter, you're not going to like the stuff either.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, if you can see through that, and you like that movie Sea Beast and stuff like that, then have at it, because it's got some believe in yourself anti-government themes to it.
Nice.
If
All right,
you mentioned Harry Potter. Do you guys know that Nicholas Flamel is a real person? Oh.
Nope. Go ahead.
I was just going to say real fast.
Yeah.
Nicholas Flamel was a real person.
Nicholas Flamel.
If you don't know, yeah, Nicholas Flamel was a real person. He was I think like a Franciscan monk in the Middle Ages.
Oh.
So if you're into that franchise, that might be something you might benefit from knowing.
Okay. I'll look into that.
Nice.
All right. So I'm not trying to cut anybody off, but we'll go ahead since we're a little over time.
Yeah, no, it's later than I realized. Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually Jake that's really like driving us to be on time. So we're the late night crew.
You're not even keeping score during trivia, so you're not gonna know the time. Like,
I can't do math or tell time, but anyway, let's go on to this next video. This is one that Jake actually sent us, so we would be watching this tonight with or without him. And here it is.
That German high school students learn about U.S. propaganda in their English courses in high school. Recently, a follower asked to send me a textbook that they used in German 11th to 13th grade English courses to study U.S. propaganda. So like in the United States, where we study German World War II propaganda, in Germany, they're studying current U.S. propaganda. They cover everything from U.S. exceptionalism to the American dream, and they show German students how U.S. citizens have been led to have a lack of self-critical awareness to how their ideals have failed. I didn't want to believe it at first, but if you Google the name of the textbook and the word Abitur, which is the final stage of German high school, it returns all kinds of study guides and notes. And what really shook me is that on one of these study guides, it says, the U.S. has become a wasteful consumer society of lonely individuals. So if you've ever wondered how some people outside of the U.S. view the U.S.,
I mean,
this feels to me like some German propaganda about U.S. propaganda. Not saying that all of what they're saying about the U.S. is wrong, because I'm sure there are elements of truth to it. But if you can't see that as the propaganda that is, you've got another thing coming.
I think and we're lonely because we've gone 80 years without stacking German bodies. So you guys want to keep buying into that narrative. Keep pushing.
That threw me off. I was going to say something and then I wasn't prepared for that one. But no, it's fine. I think it's just funny that like every country has a propaganda textbook that demonstrates how and it looks and what it is via another country, never your own. Like, what fucking country, name a country or show me in a textbook where they go like, here's our own propaganda, and it's like the fucking, in our country we would have like this is propaganda in Germany in World War II, and it's like, we just fucking stood and did the Pledge of Allegiance before this fucking, we opened this book, you cunt. That's propaganda.
There we go. Which the Pledge of Allegiance is a communist ritual, people. I'm not saying you shouldn't pledge allegiance to the United States Constitution.
I'm not saying you should or shouldn't.
But
I'm saying you should not pledge. I'm saying you should not say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I mean, I didn't. I got to a point in school where I thought it was weird and creepy, and I didn't.
The flag ideology is a communist notion.
Yeah, in general, being forced to stand and say the fucking Pledge of Allegiance in general, whether you good or bad, it is propaganda though. Like, it is promoting an idea. It is ritualistically, or just even if it's just psychologically, just like through repetitive nature, just pounding it into you. Like,
just dissect the pledge, right? Like, where in the, so our founding document, our founding principles, the Constitution, none of that's mentioned in the Pledge of Allegiance. It's all about a flag.
Yeah, it's
the country for which it stands.
Which that feels like that could be, different today than it was in 30 years ago or 30 years from now. You know what I mean? Like, it's all very just malleable.
Yeah, so the latter part of it, the one nation under God, indivisible, everyone. Oh yeah, cool. But like, hold up, why am I pledging to a flag here?
Indivisible, really?
Joke is that Skycloth demands promises.
It's essentially a secular creed. Like, I don't know, Stephen, what denomination of church you go to, but there are certain denominations that will, like, every Sunday during the worship service say either the Nicene Creed or the Apostles' Creed, just as a confession of what we believe. The Pledge of Allegiance is that, but it's not for God. It's about a state. Which, once you realize that, I don't think that you should say it.
Yeah. Well, when I was growing up, we had to, in like kindergarten, first grade, I had to do the pledge to the American flag and then to the Christian flag too.
Oh, what?
Yeah, which was weird because it was another pledge to a flag, and like it did not feel right. And then when I went into public school in Georgia, we pledged the U.S. flag and the Georgia flag.
Oh, this wasn't a public school.
The first one wasn't. No, the first one was a Christian school. But
that makes more sense, I guess. Yeah.
I find pledging to flags weird regardless.
Oh, I agree. I found it really, at a young age, I was like, this feels like kind of chanty and weird and creepy. And I did I think I've said this on this show before, where like I would stand with everybody, so I didn't want to like call too much attention to myself, because I got fucking bullied enough, but I wouldn't say it. I would just do the motion, and then, but in my mind I was like, I'm not gonna say it. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, that was my little 8-year-old fuck you, was like, I'm gonna stand but not say it. Did you guys do in the 90s? Did you guys go to school in the 90s, everybody, or Steve, were you a little before this, or no? You were in like high school in the 90s, right?
I was born in '85, man. So yeah, I mean, 90s. I was, what was it? Elementary, middle.
Yeah. So you're right there in the same. Did you guys have like this little video that would like follow the pledge sometimes? Like, did you have this thing that was like the "I'm proud to be an American" song thing? My school did a second round in one of my schools.
We would do that at like football games and stuff.
Okay.
Like you would hear Lee Greenwood in the background sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. Proud to be
we were too
an
American. Where at least I know I'm free. Yeah. That was the thing.
That's a banger. That's a straight up banger.
Yeah, but it's long, and I'm 8, and every day we did it like before class, and I'm like, oh my god, dude! It's
and why is it done before the sporting events? That's what I can never wrap my mind around. Like, why are we?
We're not here for that. Like,
well, and before the rapper Juvenile, you had this Greek philosopher Juvenal, which said, "Give the masses bread and circuses, and they'll never revolt."
Yeah, I know that line.
Yeah, so that's the whole purpose for why you see the national anthem and the flag pledging.
Now it's Doritos and NFL, but it's
our bread and circuses. Don't pay attention to money laundering, child trafficking, drug trafficking. Right. Don't pay attention to that.
Don't look at the Bohemian Grove. Stay out of there.
The right team.
Yeah. Don't pay attention to 9/11 or Epstein Island or Bohemian Grove, or you watch NFL and you shut the hell up and you stand for the pledge. Like,
yeah.
It's another. It's a secular religion. So just like you might pray before a sports game, they're doing their pledge to the state and to the flag. So
absolutely.
But what do you think about all this, John? Pledging to fabric and whatever else.
Like, I think it's really important to love where you live. And I think it's nice to be able to express that every now and then. I would like to make sure that we're not completely indoctrinating, that we're not brainwashing people.
Yeah.
With stuff like that. Some people have said that, school shootings didn't happen as often when we had public prayer. And I feel like some of this stuff does serve a purpose. It's kind of wishy-washy with me.
Having something open to someone, like an invitation to do it, is one thing, but expecting someone and trying to establishing a norm to do it, and if you don't do it, you're the outcast, you're the weird one, and you're ridiculed or whatever. Like, that's a different thing than being like, hey, if you would like, we're gonna do this thing over here in the park or whatever. That's fine. I don't care about that.
Some of that is gonna be.
Because from a psychological,
I just always think about that.
Sorry, go ahead.
This is really awkward because of the delay in my phone. I swear I'm going to get better internet. I always go to that episode of Boy Meets World where Topanga sits out the pledge.
I remember that.
I don't remember that. No. Boy Meets World.
I have it all.
Was it the pledge
on my server? I'm going to watch that.
Yeah, but you mentioned loving where you live, which I think that is really important. Yes. Obviously, geographic. Oh, sorry. What? Oh, were you?
I just had to throw it. No. I just had to throw in that makes Topanga better. And like anybody who grew up in the 90s already loved Topanga. So sorry, I had to interrupt Zane to throw in that.
Yeah, so obviously geographic locations and communities and cultures need not be synonymous with the state. But this is why I actually really like the America's national anthem. Because if you think about what the Star Spangled Banner is about, it's about a secessionist movement and essentially about the good qualities of a group of people. It's the exact opposite of the Pledge of Allegiance in my opinion, and I really like that.
It's very different. It also was written by a Brit.
Francis Scott Key was a French prisoner.
Oh, French. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that matters if the meaning is there.
I think America the Beautiful should be our national anthem, quite honestly. But
All right.
Yeah,
let's move on to the one funny one we have for the night. Although the German one was supposed to be a little funny, and we ripped it apart anyway.
I feel like I get the funny in it, but the way that we are, and we're drinking too much, and we just went on a tangent with it. But
we're just hyper literal.
Yeah.
I mean, for all my criticisms of the U.S., what I can't stand even more is people from other countries criticizing the U.S. for dumb stuff. Because everything that's wrong about the U.S., I'm sure, is wrong about Germany, but even more so.
Well, I love, if we're going to get on the comedy kick, so Shane Gillis is one of the up and coming comics right now, even though he's been in comedy for well over 10 years. One of his latest stand-ups, that's one of the things he talks about is America's number one. He's like, I fly into another country, and I land at the airport and I start laughing. I'm like, is this it? Is this it, really? This is all you guys got? Oh, awesome. We're number one. He goes, by the way, have you ever gone to another country and reminded them that we're number one? He's like, they lose their minds. They hate it.
They love that. Yeah. That's why, to Zane's point, that's why I had kind of called out that it seems like every country that has a state-run education, they all point out another nation's flaws or something, but not their own. And I wish that we could, honestly, what's the harm in being hey, here's this one thing that we do or did or whatever that is defined as this or looks like this or isn't, whatever, a good idea because of X.
Right. Well, but growing up, and obviously this is anecdotal. This is just my life, my little myopic window of how I've experienced the world. I've come in contact with foreign exchange students from Germany, Japan, Mexico, and Canada in Fayette County, Georgia, you know, in the 90s. And they came over here. They all had multiple marketable skills. They spoke multiple languages. They played some kind of instrument. They were either into like auto mechanics or architecture or landscaping or, you know, some kind of manipulative with their hands. They were good with that. And like all we had was like, I can talk trash at a hockey game. You know, I go see the Atlanta Knights at the Omni and I can talk trash with the best of them. That was about all we had.
And now we're all influencers.
South Park
Panda. Yeah.
By the way, I've heard chants of USA in other countries before. I think I heard one in Japan and one in Argentina when I was
in a
there.
good way?
Like people are just goofing and they're doing it to be ironic, but it's just it throws you for a loop to be
That's
like,
pretty
right,
funny,
these
actually.
Japanese people are chanting USA.
That
All
is
right,
pretty
here
funny.
is the funny video for the night. It's called Guidance Counselors in the 90s Being Wrong About Everything.
Oh, God.
Video games is not a job. I know you like playing video games. I've talked to you about that. That is not a job. So what, you're just going to be a professional video game player? You win the video game awards? Let me guess, you get signed to a video game team, huh? You know, a journalist. That's a good job. Posting photos of yourself half naked or heaven forbid naked on the internet is not a job, Becky. I hear you're selling nude photos to some of the boys in schools. That is not a job, okay? Get into one of these schools, 500 grand minimum. We are going to get a Bachelor of Arts degree, and there's going to be possibilities for you in that job market. Now, listen, I know that you like to spend your time dancing, okay? But we need to think about your future here, and you are not going to get rich being a mediocre dancer. Keep it up with this dancing stuff. You're going to be working at McDonald's cashier. Now, that's a job that'll never go away. You flunked the test to sit around in the cafeteria. And I got to be honest with you, you and 4 of your friends sitting around talking about nothing is not a job, okay? You thought about being a police officer. Now, this is a respected position. Everyone respects.
No.
Looked at with reverence. What's this I hear about you getting kicked out of the mall and filming it? If you want to make money in the financial sector, you need an MBA. There's no other way to do it. You want to get a social science degree from a good university. Now, it's going to cost, this is worth every penny, okay? And watching other people play video games while you comment on it is definitely not a job. Journalism will never go away, okay?
Wow. Hey, by the way, that's Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, in 2 minutes condensed. If you actually watch the video.
Oh yeah,
I like that guy.
Yeah, those are his 2 dads talking to him throughout his adolescence in his entirety in 2 minutes. So if you want to save yourself 250 pages, just watch that video.
I've seen some clips of him talking. I get the sense that his book is basically a long version of that. Like, yeah. I mean, there's some nuance here and there, but yeah, it's basically that, because it's so all the video excerpts with the captions. Mm-hmm.
That's his poor dad.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. It's his poor dad talking about getting an education, get a good job, work.
It's Rich Dad that was right. Yeah, saying that.
Yeah. For anybody just listening, like the video was saying, like, "Oh, that's not a real job," and then it would show headlines.
Of course, of people winning championships for fucking Fortnite or
Well, my brother-in-law won a $30,000 prize racing Batman Gotham Knights, something like that. I'm not even sure if I've got the game right, but he won a ton of money doing that like 10 or 15 years ago.
I won.
And then there were other ones like,
I was gonna make it there. Never mind.
I want to hear it. Go ahead.
No. It was gonna be an OnlyFans joke about peeing on my own feet. We'll move on. It's fine.
I was about to go to OnlyFans. It showed OnlyFans people making a lot of money, but the best one was. It said that podcasters were a multi-million-dollar operation, but there are billions of podcasts, so that means we're all making like $3.
That's the same with OnlyFans.
Zach,
There's a handful that make all the money.
Multiple teachers in your county that make 6 figures on the side selling their feet pictures on the internet.
What classes do they teach?
Not telling that.
Sounds like you're signing up the hard sale.
Yeah.
Do you get an affiliate commission?
No, because I'm not plugging any of that. I'm just saying, like, there was a big story recently that like there was a teacher. I forget the big state story.
You forget her OnlyFans.
There you go. She was OnlyFans.
Miss Chokes on Dick.
Yeah, she made like 200K in 6 months or something like that. And
John got it.
I always knew they were going to catch me. I always knew I was going to get fired. And then everyone's like, well,
why would you get fired?
Well, because she knew if it became a news story. Now she's got 2 million followers. Just do the math on that. Like, why would I ever have to teach again?
Exactly. I don't understand why you would get fired though, just because that's your side gig. Why do we care?
It's
people don't like porn stars teaching their kids.
Yeah, there you go.
But what if you're a fucking good teacher and you got hot feet?
Hey,
I don't know.
When I was in high school, there was a Mrs. Frazier that was dating Ryan Klesko at the time. She was a phenomenal English teacher, by the way. Okay, stressed and unstressed syllables. I never would have got it unless she was teaching me. But there were topics that it was very hard to focus because it was like, I can see why current MLB star Ryan Klesko is dating you.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough. It was one of the, but
you got to strike that fine balance, of like being motivated enough to learn, but not distracted so much that you can't retain it.
Right.
All right, we are way after time.
We are, we're 10:30. I think this might be the latest we've done.
Steven, anything else to plug?
The Range Day with Bazooka Jew, the upcoming state convention. That's just about all I got. I mean, find your local affiliate, get in touch with the state. If you don't know where they are, if you're in Fayette, Coweta, we're having a meeting next weekend, actually. So all of this posted on lpgeorgia.com. So, please feel free to join. I understand it's being part of the Libertarian Party is like herding cats. Part of your individualistic identity is not being a part of a team because we are the counterculture. But I also want you to understand that for us to have ballot access and for us to have viable candidates on the ballot for you to vote for to be counterculture, we do need some money, and that comes from
selling pictures of your feet. Oh,
that's right. Well, yeah, sell pictures of your feet and share it with us. Whatever you want to, however you want to acquire the money is none of our business.
We don't care.
As long as you transmit it through legal means.
Yeah.
All right, Zane, what do you got going on?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I'm about to go to bed. That's what I've got going on.
Sweet. All right, and then Alden.
I mean, my night's just starting, but nothing libertarian focused. No.
Anything at all? All right.
No.
All right, John, close us out. Tell us about yourself, anywhere we can find you, or if we shouldn't find you, let us know.
Serenade us to bed.
No, I'm looking at a posting from Jake Green now who says I'm proud of Divide and Dominate, available on Amazon, Odyssey, and Peaceful Sea Network.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Divide and Dominate. It's very well done.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely recommend that. And
as do we.
I think I'm good.
Cool. Yeah, I meant to ask Zane earlier if he had any other libertarian movie recommendations at all, but I completely forgot, even after I told you I would do it. But yeah, Peaceful Sea Productions, Divide and Dominate, how the powerful steal more power. Is that right?
Yes,
you got it.
Boom. Go check that out. Anyway, that is it for us tonight. Join us next week where I will probably make Steven host this whole thing.
Threaten me with a good time.
Yeah. Now I got to go find the ending and click it. Thanks.
Cheers.
See you guys.
Ciao.